And we are live. What's happening tonight, everybody? Looks like we got a few in the house. LP, he was here first thing this morning when I put this up, set up for the live. I noticed he was here right out of the gate. Congratulations, being number one. We got, I gotta mute that stinking browser. Okay, no echoes here. Twist Mopar Dennis is in the house. Dougster's here. Have no fear, the Dougster is here. Got Brother Bear Rose Garage in the house. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. We got some pretty exciting stuff getting ready to kick off here at Tony's Hot Rod Garage. I spent the better part of the afternoon driving down to Phoenix. Some of you may have seen the short I put up. We picked up a new piece of shop equipment for the shop. 9,000-pound 4-post lift will be going in. Just as soon as I get that rest of the parts show up and I get that stinking water truck out of there, because that water truck is taking up the whole bay where the lift is going to go. And we are gearing up for some pretty big changes around here. Dust Devil Brian's in the house. Diecast Dream Customs Victor's in the house. Mater's in the house. Right on. Right on, Mater. May have found a chassis for the mini top fuel dragster for $500. That's freaking cool. As John was talking about in his live, we are going to do a last chance run one more time of the No Name Nationals 2024 t-shirts that was only available at No Name. Money, Fame, Community shirts. I'm going to make a special listing on a website. Basically, what we're going to do, we're going to run it for 2 weeks. It's going to be a pre-order. And when I shut down the pre-orders, they'll all get printed and sent out to whoever got them. All the profits will go directly to No Name Nationals. So stay tuned for that. I will, once it's fired up on the website, I will make a post on the community, on my community page, so everybody can be aware that it's happening. So if you missed out on getting your No Name Nationals 2024 t-shirt, this will be your last chance. And after we do these, no more. We'll never print them again. It's going to be one of those things where you'll have to wait and try and get a 2025 shirt. Get back to my comments here. Oh, and for those of you that are curious on the sizing, the shirts will be available in small all the way through 5X. And we got the doorbell ringing.
Hey,
What's happening? Professor P is in the house.
what's going on, guys? How you guys doing? It's a late night for me here.
Yeah, it is. What is it? About 11 o'clock?
9 right now.
Oh, it's not. Okay, yeah. Duh. It's
But-
only 7 here. I've been in go mode all day.
Right? Yeah, I came on to announce you beat me to it on his channel there, or talking about the Cookie Monster shirts coming, man. I'm excited about those.
Yeah,
Talk
that's
about
gonna
it.
be super, super cool.
Yeah.
That is also another edition that's going to be coming to Gunslinger Graphics, my website. We will be printing them, making them, and selling them for Slant Daily Garage.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Be part of the drop down menu on Gunslinger Graphics now. When you click the YouTube channels, we got Professor P and the Cookie Monster coming.
Yeah, it was actually funny. I had to call him up. He's like, I went onto a server, I downloaded it, and I put the things over there, and I was waiting for like a send button. I was like, man, I think I'm inept, because is it on there? And he goes, well, I'm walking in the house, and he pulls it up, and sure shit, they were there.
Yeah, it was too easy.
It was too
Yeah,
easy.
it was actually kind of funny after I got off the phone with you about that. I told my wife, I said, that is probably one of the smartest guys I know. He called about the server. It was too friggin' easy.
Because it was so simple. I was like, there's got to be something else. I'm missing something. Is there a send or an enter or whatever?
Yeah, no, just drag and drop.
Right
Like
on.
it's like I was saying, it's just like Google Drive, except it's a whole bunch more secure.
Yeah.
From prying eyes, if you're believing that shit like I do.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why I'm going to retire on that side of the world. Open spaces.
Right.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I got a bunch going on, but I've got to sit down, and Shane uploaded the pictures for me to work with, and we're gonna put together a pretty darn badass Cookie Monster shirt. And it will be
Yeah.
available for sale.
I'm super stoked because I've never really had anything like that. I've never really done it. It's just we just made shirts like the Slant Day of the Garage shirt was just kind of like, sure, why not? Let's make a shirt. Never
Right.
really. It's all for fun. It's not like I'm doing any of this for like profit or whatever. I'm just having
Yeah.
fun with it.
Well, the way I see it, you make a couple bucks off the things.
Yeah.
It's play money. It's channel money. It's Cookie Monster money. It's Plan Z money.
That's exactly what it's
all
for.
all that shit costs money. I ain't got to tell you.
It does. It does. There's a lot sitting here, and I've got a lot sitting right over there, and up on the lift too.
Right. I got to tell you, I'm friggin' stoked about that lift.
Yeah.
Getting it set up in there. Trouble is, I got that stupid water truck in the shop taking up 2.5 car bays, which is where the lift is going to be. I'm kind of in parts purgatory.
Yeah, I was actually going to spill some beans. I was going to do it on John's channel, but when I went to knock on his door, I saw that he had Cope on there, so I didn't really want to mess with that because he was talking about his case, and I think that's really awesome. I think what he's doing with that case is that's amazing. If that was available, I probably wouldn't have gone to a Glide. I would have done something with the 727 or figured out something with the 904, but it just happened to be that I went with the Glide. But it was so close, and I know how. And if you watched his live, the reason why they're trying to get it done by the first of the year is because of Chinese New Year. I have to deal with them on some flex plates and a few other different things because that's just where the market's at.
Right.
So they shut down for like 3 or 4 weeks, and the whole country goes on vacation. Literally, like I think it's the end of January. Literally all of February, the whole place is on vacation.
38 Race has a question. Order shirts on October 9th. I'm not sure I'm following what the question is. Did you order shirts? I haven't had any orders come across the website. Not on the 9th, anyway. And that was almost, 14, 15 days ago.
Yeah.
16 days ago. Well, October's almost over.
Can you believe that? Man.
This year it's flown by.
This is the fastest year I think since I've been on this side of the world. It's just moved,
Right.
Yeah.
Dougster says, my bud Gasser Mike's grandson is running a junior dragster. It's a late built 5-horse Briggs. Nasty little buggers can upgrade to a 750 road bike engine at 18 to 19. I'm talking them into a CB 750.
Yeah.
That's going to be a scooting son of a gun.
Yeah. And that's funny. That's actually what they did at some of the local tracks is they would take out the little Briggs and they would put in street bike engines, and then those things would really move.
Move that dihydrogen monoxide rig. Must be talking about the water truck. Yeah, it was that has been the job from hell. It's a late basically what the DT 466 International Diesel evolved into. It's a 2012, so it's one of the Max Force series Mac international engines. Now it's got all the emissions crap on it,
Hmm.
and the oil cooler went to leaking. And it's just one of them plate and fin, like the Ford diesels used. It goes on the side of the block.
Yep.
It's got four openings in the back, and there's four crush type. Those
O-rings.
neoprene O ring.
Yeah.
They're thick over, kind of like intake gaskets on LS kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and that's all there is. And there's 10 bolts around the perimeter that holds the thing on. It's right out in the open, down on the lower, right above the pan rail on the block. Of those 10 bolts, one of them is completely left inaccessible by the EGR cooler,
Perfect.
which caused an hour-long job to turn into about $4,500 worth of parts.
Oh,
We're and we got 3 days in it so far, and it's still got to go back together because we had to remove the turbos, the EGR cooler, all the piping, all the bullshit that goes along with it to access one bolt.
it's terrible.
I thought maybe the engineer was smoking weed. Whatever it was, I think was stronger than weed.
Crack. I always say when people are smoking crack, whenever I see something that's it just doesn't make sense, it's like they were smoking crack.
Yeah, just a and the thing is, there's all the room in the world in that the plate and fin type oil cooler. I mean, they could have moved the holes and literally lowered the thing
Hmm.
a half an inch, and you could have got in there with a 1/4 inch drive extension and got that bolt out. It just absolutely blows my mind why anything would ever be put out in the wild that way. And 38 says, Tony, brain fart on my part. The pre-order for the no name 2024 shirt starts on the second. I'm going to try to have it set up on a site where it'll start on the first. I'm going to run it for 2 weeks. Basically, what my goal is to get all the pre-orders in by mid-November, because I want to get them all printed up and get them shipped out by Thanksgiving, so everybody has them before the end of the year. So there's that answer. And that'll be about the time right around there the Cookie Monster shirts will launch too.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. How long does that normally take? Just a wild guess.
A few hours of my time is what it really
Wow.
takes, just to process the pictures and set them up the way I want to set them up,
That's
to
awesome.
be printed because I print them all in house.
Oh,
I have a vendor that I buy the prints from. I have them print up for me. And someday we may buy the $20,000 machine where we actually print as well. But the vendor that I use works well for me. The pricing is right, and it's high quality stuff. So it's just, and when I order the stuff, it's a day. It's literally overnight. If I have an order in by about 10 in the morning, I'll have it the next day. And that's
that's
part of what
amazing.
makes this work because I don't have to have a huge inventory. All the channels that I do stuff for, I have a limited number of pieces here, where if a shirt order comes in, bam, it goes out. But, let's say somebody orders, 10 pieces or something, and I got nine, it doesn't become an oh shit moment because I can still get them in and ship them before anybody's pissed about delayed shipping. Yeah, it works out pretty good. And I
I was talking about coming to that side of the world. My brother's trying to get me to go to the King of the Hammers, uh, February 5th through the 8th. So I might be coming by that area. So I'll have to just stop by and say hi
that
if
would
that
be
happens.
super cool.
Yeah, we'll probably take the Lizard King. So that's my driver is my 69 Dart. So we'll probably end up driving that.
Right on. Where's that event?
It's in the oh it's what do they call that area? It's just north of Palm Springs, um, and just south of Apple Valley. I kind of trying to remember.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about, but I'm
Yeah.
brain farting on the name too.
Yeah. I can't even think of it right now, but it was. I'll remember it in a minute, but yeah, it's that whole valley right there, and it literally becomes a whole town, a whole city for like a month.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Andy's in the house. What's up, Andy?
I was just gonna say that. What's going on, brother? Yeah, we are. Me and Andy are working on a new shirt design as well for Unity Motorsports. It'll be coming out soon.
Awesome.
Stay tuned for that. It's going to be a cool one too. It's going to be more of a simple design, but it's going to be cool. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
Just have to wait and see. You're going to like it, Shane, and I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Dude, that's all that needs to be said. I like it. Then I'll order one right now,
Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. Wendy English is in the house. Professor P and Tony, says
Yeah.
Andy. Glad you stopped by, brother.
Yeah. I'm glad he's in the house. When I talk about what I was going to talk about, I was going to
Oh,
make sure there's.
absolutely. The stuff we were talking about on the phone.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll give you the stage. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Yeah. How many people? We got a decent amount of people in here right now?
What do we have in here? We got 20 in here right
Okay.
now.
Well, that's
21.
good. So, this is going to be one of the times where I'm not really going to be technical. I'm actually going to talk to you guys for real. Um, Me and Dallas are working on this, the screaming threes or triple threes or the crazy threes, whatever we're working on calling it. And me and Dallas have been kind of throwing this back and forth. Um, I couldn't sleep last night because I was really thinking about something. And me and Dallas is going to race in it, and I always have an issue with making rules and then racing in a class that I've made the rules for. Hence the reason why when I did the monkey bike, for like more of an outlaw, I didn't race it. I didn't make one for that exact reason because I know I'm making the rules, so I know how to work around them. I'm in the industry of building engines for, and I'm around a lot of this stuff for Edelbrock. What I'm getting to is that I know what could be the hammers. In fact, I know what the hammer is, and I'm working to um, take that out and then make sure that it's more of a level playing field. And I really don't want to make the rules and then compete because I just don't want that to be part of like a conflict of interest. So what I'm saying right now is that in I'm not going to build an engine for the crazy threes and run it. But what I am going to do, and Tony doesn't know this, and there's only one other person he might be in here that knows about this, is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to be basically have someone call me out, and I'm going to basically point at a number. Once we get closer to the thing, I'm going to have a number in mind, and then we're going to do a match race, and then someone here is going to win a ride in the Cookie Monster, and that's the one thing that I haven't. That's the real special thing. So they're going to get a full pass in this thing, obviously with no person next, no one in the other lane. But I'm going to take someone for a ride in this thing. And I'm not really sure how we're going to do it. I'm going to talk to John and just see how we're going to do that. But the big thing is that I'm not going to compete I'm not going to build an engine and put it in this car and race against it. I want to leave it. I don't want to make rules for a class. And if I go out there and win, I mean, how stupid would that be? Or even build an engine for it and just say I come in second or even third. I'm basically building rules around something to make it work, and I think that's a conflict of interest. So yeah, and then we're going to have some decent cool prizes that we're going to I'm not going to give away the prizes yet, but the winner of the class is going to be something really cool, and I'm working with Edelbrock to sponsor that race. So that part of the event is going to be sponsored by my company. I'm not really sure what we're going to do for giveaways just yet, but it's definitely going to be sponsored by my company. So
That's friggin' huge, and that's
yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool to have Edelbrock come to the table like that.
Yeah, well, you know, I showed them some of the videos, and they like that the engineers are racers. It's just like the old, you know, people from back in the Ram Charger days where the engineers were actual racers for the Dodge program. Um, we're all racers. Every single one of us engineers have got race cars. You know, some people do road racing, some cone dodge. I drag race, and I'm starting to do all the above. So we're in it, and we see what people are using and are at the track. We take pictures, and that way we can relay it back. But I show them that, hey, this is a real thing. You know, there's this whole movement to go crazy fast, and then there's this other movement of having fun, but make a class that everybody can compete in, and they get to build it for the whole year, get all this exposure, and then and talk it up and have a bunch of fun, and then all meet for you know, for 3 days. And I said it's nothing like you've ever been at before as far as racing. It's kind of more like a Love-In or a Woodstock, you know, like a music event, you know.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That's super super cool. You see the comment that Andy made there. It's called integrity, Shane.
yeah,
Much respect.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I appreciate that. I just you know, I yeah, I just don't want to do that, you know. And I know Dallas doesn't even know that right now. He actually he doesn't know that that's going to happen. He really wants to build a class so that way me and him can he race me, you know, in a class. But um, you know, I have much more access to parts than most people do. So I think that would be in my favor mostly. And I don't I want to take that out of the equation. I want it to be a level playing field for everyone.
Yeah, now they're starting to come in. Now we're getting a
Good,
bunch more in.
good.
Yeah, B&R dropped in. Two Hacks Jeff dropped in. Good to see you, brother.
So guys,
B&R Racing. Yeah, good to see you. Indirect Jason jumped in here too. Nice.
nice.
Good to see you guys.
And there's
Renegade.
another one after. There's another one after this. Buff Del Campo goes on after you.
Yeah, yeah. Buff Del Campo doesn't. I think he starts right about my first hour. I think he starts an hour after I do.
Mm.
It's a good hangout time.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
can
I
get up at.
think he's on the eastern side too, isn't he? He's late, isn't it? Late where he's at.
He's up there just north of Nashville, so he's on
Yeah,
my
he's
time.
on your
Yeah.
time.
So, but you know, for me though, you know, I go to work. I'm up at 4:45 every morning. You know, going to the gym. So
Right.
yeah, he's the late
Buff the
show.
late show. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, Renegade was asking me what kind of welding stuff I've got. Yeah, I've got a Hobart Handler 140 that I've had for. I bought that welder brand new, what, 26 years ago now. Great little welder. I've got my 225 TIG. That's a prime weld machine. Love that machine, even though I'm still not very good at TIG welding yet. And I just picked up earlier this year a Arc Captain 55 amp plasma cutter. What I'm actually going to be in the market here soon is a larger TIG welder, like a
yeah.
220 or something.
That's my
Something that
next thing.
can do the
I have
heavier stuff.
I have the exact same welder as you, a Hobart. I love it. The 140.
I
It's
absolutely love that welder.
it never fails. It works good. I run it on gas, so I have the you know the Oregon gas, and then I have a Miller plasma cutter, and
Yep.
I've been in the market to getting into TIG, so that way I can do aluminum. You know.
Yeah, I got a real good deal on a couple years ago on a very gently used TIG welder. The Prime Weld 225, and it can stick as well. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention I've got the old school Tombstone, the Lincoln AC
Yep.
stick welder too. That thing's just a powerhouse.
I got
But
one of those also.
you can only run certain rod with it.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to step up my TIG game. I
You know,
bought
I
that
I don't
welder.
use the TIG anymore except for cooking batteries, really. I mean, I'm sorry, the arc welder. I just use that to cook batteries to get them back to life again.
Right. I actually, well, I use the arc welder when, when the 140 amps falls short, on the TIG or on the MIG, I mean, because I just ain't that good with TIG yet.
Yeah.
But that little Hobart, it's a trooper. I built that whole rear suspension under the truck with the 140.
This car, that car, and the other one was done on that Hobart.
Yeah.
Number 4, you
Yeah,
turn the
turn it
arc
all
on.
turn it all the way up and go slow,
That's
and
right, and
let
it does just
let
fine.
it eat.
And then what I do is I'll preheat the metal with a torch, and that helps out
Yeah,
quite a bit too. So you don't go in cold.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Rabbit Transit J must have snuck in here. I didn't see him. Oh, there he is. Good. Thanks for stopping in, man. Yeah, shit, we're up to 26 in here now.
Wow.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm kind of pushing for watch hours. All my watch hours fell off when I quit doing the lives, getting thrashing for working and no name nationals and everything. And now I finally got the subs and I ain't got the damn watch hours. I need about 1,500 watch hours to hit my 4,000.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't even look at the YouTube studio. I put up a video here and there, and that's all I really, you know,
right.
just
Yeah,
just for
for
fun.
me, it's more of a milestone thing because
Yeah.
none of us are gonna get rich off of freaking YouTube. Let's face
Nah,
it. But it's a way to get our stuff out there.
yeah. I
That's
started my
that's
YouTube
it.
channel 12 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Wow.
and I started it for just uploading my motorcycle videos. I used to do some. Well, I can say it now. I used to do a lot of outlaw motorcycle riding, like with my supermoto in California. And I had a KX 500, and it was a supermoto, so two-stroke open bore, a big bore two-stroke
Yeah.
supermoto on the street. Imagine that on like Highway 94 or
Oh,
through some of the twisties. No one
that'd
can
be
touch you,
fun,
right?
right?
So if you're on friends with me on Facebook, my little icon is what I used to ride. I used to dress in
Oh
all
yeah.
black, and I used to have a couple GoPros. I put them on the bike, and we would just hit up the roads, and whatever transpired, legal or not, would happen. And I would put them up there, and put them out there. And so I had to delete a lot of that stuff when I actually
When
went to
you
some of the other.
actually got a theme for the channel that
Yeah,
says
yeah.
went daily.
Yeah, so I left a couple up there, like with me riding to the Carrizo Gorge to go see the big Goat Canyon Trestle. I left that one up there, and then when I built a new engine, and we went through like Lions Valley Road, on a Sunday morning. We called it church. So
Right. Well, you got to have some of the nostalgic stuff. It's
yeah,
like, I don't know, what was it? Late last year, I think it was. I was going through the archives and I found from 2010 one of my videos from when we were dirt track racing the super stock. I threw that up and that video actually did pretty good.
wow,
Old 480p looked like you're watching it on a 1940s friggin' TV, but it was cool, nostalgic.
that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't know that about me, but for about 7 years, we played with a dirt track super stock car,
Really?
roundy round. Yeah, Mopar powered,
Oh,
solid cammed 408 strokers. We
nice.
were limited to iron heads,
Hmm.
but iron heads and flat tappet cams.
Yeah.
So we ran beehive springs on a set of. Actually had two engines built, but I had Hughes. Dave Hughes did all the port work.
Hmm.
Remember the old iron ram heads? You used to be
Yep.
able to buy the good replacements.
Yeah.
He was getting those things to flow about 310 CFM,
Hmm.
and we were running his cams with the T&D style rockers on them, beehive springs, turning them about 7 grand. Of course, all forged bottom ends.
Yep.
And, they were putting out about 620 horse. And that was a lot of power on that dirt track. And they they hated us because we were loud and we were fast.
Yeah.
And then we decided, just to piss off the tech guys, we painted the heads with that aluminum paint.
The Mexican. You made a Mexican aluminum.
The Mexican chrome,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
And we got called on that, and it got to the point where I kept one of those little, like the size of a watch battery, those little rare earth magnets.
Yeah.
I keep one in my pocket, and when the tech guy had, you can't run them heads, yeah, yeah," or when somebody'd call us out after we won the race, trying to cheat or whatever,
Yeah.
I'd throw it because they're so strong. I'd throw it right at the motor. No, they're steel. They're iron.
That's awesome. Yeah, I worked with Dave Hughes quite a bit when they were doing the Engine Quest heads. Remember the
Mhm.
Engine Quest
Yeah.
318? So
Yes.
this was back, what was that? Late 90s, early 2000s.
Mhm.
We were tubing the tubes. These are on the Magnum heads, obviously, and we were moving the ports over, and so it looked like a factory head, but they would leak water and this and that, but they were good enough for like a weekend. You didn't put coolant in it, but if you raced it and then drained the water out of it, but I was running that stuff, and in fact, um, people liked my Magnum stuff. That's how I came up with those recipes that I give out to people for the
Oh,
360s.
nice.
That's how I learned
Nice.
those. Yeah.
I actually heard something. I think it was Brian was telling me that Hughes quit. Hughes is no longer doing machine work.
Yeah, that's correct.
That sucks.
Yeah.
The
It-
heads on my truck, I had Hughes do them.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I've got the same heads that Jed has on Jezebel, those Speedmaster
Mm-hmm.
friggin' knockoff of the Victor.
Yeah.
Well, and I found out later, but as the story goes, when China knocked off those heads, they knocked off the prototype of the Victor.
Oh.
And you probably know all this, being the Edelbrock guy, all the caveats there
Mm-hmm. Can't
and
talk about it, but yeah, I know exactly what you're
right,
talking about.
right. I can talk about it
Yeah.
because I own the damn jacked off, knocked off freaking heads that somebody talked me into buying.
Yeah.
And I just got so fucking fed up with
Mm-hmm.
working on the trying to get every time I turned around, something didn't fit, something didn't work. I called up Dave. I said, "Will these sons of bitches go through your Victor CNC program?" And he said he'd done them with good success.
Good.
And I sent them to him, and I ran them through. Had him run them through his CNC, and then I went for the gusto. I had him do the finish, the hand finish, and everything.
Yeah.
Those damn things are flowing like 365 CFM, something like that. It's
That's good.
stupid numbers.
And that's
And
all
that's
free
that's
power.
why that's why that thing runs so damn good.
Yeah.
That's why an untuned VRS took me down the track at a personal best of 795 at No Name Nationals.
Wow.
It's that was what that one pass I made was a 795,
Wow.
and that was a shakedown pass. That's
Wow.
we talked about the VRS, and I've
Yeah.
worked on it a little bit. It's still got a little flat spot
Uh-huh. We
in
could
the
probably
mid
get that.
range.
We could probably get that out with some like a power valve.
But yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Mhm.
I need to go into it anyway because, as I assumed, coming back up here to 5,400 feet, it cruises right around 1195, 12. I'd like to see it a little leaner than that for
Yeah.
for daily driving. I mean, a wide open throttle at 12 is fine, but daily
Yeah.
driving, cruising, so I'll have to work on it a little bit, but it's going to be two tunes. I'm going to have a tune for at home and a tune for everywhere else.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because we're just high in elevation up here.
Yeah, we're right at about
No fault of the carburetor.
yeah, we did that for like about a 1,500 foot to 500 foot. Yeah.
That's what you were telling me.
Yeah. We can account for different things, but it's just hard to because there's so many different air densities, when you start playing with that, especially how it goes across that Venturi, and how that annular booster works on that one. You got the 750, right? Or did you get the 850?
It's the
Okay, yeah.
850. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's got the annular booster in it then.
it
So yeah,
does.
yeah.
My
And
demon that I replaced with it was annular also.
yeah, it's the only way to go. If
But the
you're racing it.
demon, yeah, the demon I just had no hope for, at least on the street, because it's only a 2-circuit carb. You know, I mean, I shouldn't say no hope, but because it can be done. It's just so much easier to do when you've got that third and fourth circuit to play with.
Yeah. Yeah, you really don't have to touch much on those on the two intermediate circuits. Really, it's mostly just going to be jet changes, and then if you're going to do anything with the air bleeds, it's going to be basically for either the idle side or the main jet side. But the intermediate ones are pretty well set for pretty much anything.
Right.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
mostly for transitions.
Right. Right. Yeah, it idles. I mean, I did like you suggested. I opened up the throttle plates a little bit and closed down the air screws,
Hmm.
and I mean it fires up cold, runs great. I mean, I don't even
Yeah.
have to sit there and babysit it for hell. The other day I took it out for a drive, and I think it was about 70 degrees outside, and I gave it a shot of fuel and turned the key, and it lit right up, and it idled rough for a minute, but didn't have to restart it, didn't have to fiddle with the throttle, and it just sat there and run. And when it warms up, it sits there and idles about 13.8, and I could lean it out more. I got room, but that's where the engine's happy,
Yeah.
and that's where that engine's gonna be happy because of that cam.
Yeah. And it's funny is my slant sixes, every single one I seem to build right around the 13.5 to 13.2. Once you get leaner than that on the carburetor, they start chuching, they start
Right.
shaking around. Yeah, yeah. It becomes nervous, and you're like, it's not supposed to do that. There's no cam in this. Why is it getting nervous? Oh, look at you watch the air fuel, and it's just you fatten
Right.
it up, and it just smooths right out. And you're
And
like,
it
well,
smooths right out. It's just
right.
funny how that works. But you know what? The other credit that I really have to give to that VRS is, we'll talk about cold start. It's obviously no choke, no nothing. It's a
Mhm.
VRS. I fired up cold, like I was talking about the other morning. And, when it's cold, it will sit there on the AFR gauge in the high 15s and low 16s and not refuse to run. I mean, obviously it's not happy, but it
Mhm.
runs, it
Yeah.
idles and warms up. And that's hard to get with a carburetor.
Yeah.
To get them to go, especially with compression and cam like what's in mine. It's happy.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's just the atomization of the fuel going across it. That's how
exactly
well it's working. So that way you're not having any droplets of fuel. And that's the problem is that when they're cold, they're just not the fuel droplets get to the bottom and you just can't run. So if it can run like that lean and still run, that just shows the atomization of the fuel, how well it's suspending it in the air,
right.
in the manifold, the
Yeah, that
efficiency of the carburetor.
I am so damn impressed with that carburetor. It's not funny. I'll tell you what, I'll never build another hot rod without one.
Yeah.
I'm definitely sold on them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got a good deal on it. Through Jegs. I've got a guy at Jegs that takes care of me. You and I talked about that.
Hmm.
So I didn't pay full retail for the thing, but I paid less for it than I paid for that Demon, and I bought that Demon brand new in 2014.
Yeah.
I paid $970 for that Mighty Demon in 2014.
Wow.
Hell, full retail on the VRS 850 is only 957,
Hmm. And that's all built right here in the USA.
right?
Yeah. I mean, they're
Well,
hand assembled by two. I think there's only two people who hand assembled those.
right. Luckily, my Demon is one of the last Barry Grant built Demons.
Oh,
It's not a Holly Demon.
yeah, it's good.
And not to take anything away from Holly. I'm not here to bash Holly. I love
Yeah,
their
yeah,
carburetors and their stuff, but I do appreciate the American made stuff.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like John was talking about the shirts and the merchandise and all that stuff. The no name nationals, stuff and everything being made not only by people in this community but in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. And that's why when we were talking about me selling my shirts through you, it was a no brainer. It's like, sure, no problem, man. To me, it's kind of like, I have well, I don't want to go into too much, but I have a rental property. Well, we have rental properties, and it's like it's the same thing. It's hands off because I trust the people. Like I trust you with that. It's like a no big deal. It's like, hey, you're doing it, awesome. Other people are doing it, even better.
Yeah, it's passive income.
Right?
That's what you call that. That's passive income.
Passive income, yeah.
Hands off, and you make a few bucks off of it. I'm sure you make more money off your rental property than you'll ever make selling T-shirts, but
Yeah.
but either way, hands off is still hands off. I
Yeah.
don't
It's
care if it's
nice.
if it's $10 or $10,000.
Hmm.
Dust Devil Brian says he kind of bashes Holly in his next video.
Never burn a bridge.
Right. Well, I did a pretty good bash video. You probably remember my What the Fuck Power Master video last year.
Yeah.
And I was legitimately pissed off. I mean, I've been using Power Master starters and alternators for 30 years,
Hmm.
and I could not get one that worked to save my ass on this truck. The
Yeah.
first one was DOA, and then the second one, within 3 hours of being installed and run, 3 hours or less of run time, the damn thing's putting out 19 volts at idle. I'm sure my
Wow.
$1,000+ worth of MSD ignition hardware just enjoyed the shit out of that. And before I sent it back to him, I opened it up, and the stator was melted.
Wow.
The stator in that damn thing was melted. It was a freaking 12SI GM alternator. I mean, that's one of the simplest damn alternators in existence.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get that right. So
Yeah.
I went on Amazon and bought a freaking Proform. And I said, well, at least it admits it's made in China.
Right.
And
Right.
it's been on there for a year and a half, and it hasn't given me a lick of trouble.
The alternator I have on the Cookie Monster is out of a Cadillac. It's a 100 amp alternator with
Mhm.
like an old GM style with a CS little plug on it, and I
Yep.
just have it looped around, and then I have an idiot light that runs up that tells me when it's turned off, and then when it turns on, the light goes off.
Yeah,
So
it's probably a CS 130, probably the same style alternator I've got on
mhm.
the truck.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
works great.
and a lot of people, Brian especially, gave me a lot of shit for not putting a Chrysler alternator on that truck. Well, find me a Chrysler alternator sub $800 that puts out 140 amps.
That I can go to O'Reilly's and replace on the side of the road. That's the whole thing, is that
Right.
that's this right here. The whole reason of this car is if I go places and race this. This car was I've raced this street racing in San Diego. So there was times where if I broke down, I had to wait until the auto parts store opened the next morning to get it back home. So I had to have like parts that I could get across the counter to get
Right.
home.
Well, and last year at No Name Nationals, I hadn't put the CS 130 that's on it now on it yet. Last year at No Name Nationals was exactly that. It was I think I went in there and asked them for one for a 1975 Suburban or some shit, just a basic 12SI GM alternator.
Hmm.
Sure is only putting out what 83 amps or 78 amps, I think is what they're rated at. But you know what? I made the event with it. And then I got home and put the replacement Power Master on it. They promptly melted down.
Yeah. Yeah, Bear Rose is saying that that's exactly how he wires his in. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the best thing, man. In fact, that little generator that I made with the little Harbor Freight engine. Did you see that? How I made that thing? It's an alternator that's hooked to a little small engine from Harbor Freight.
I have not seen yours, but go ahead, and then I'm going to tell a story.
Yeah, so I actually got the idea from a guy who used to race in Bonneville, and back in the '80s, he made one out of a little edger, and he had two alternators. It was a chain drive, and then I was like, I'm going to make one too, so that way I could just power things around. Well, Steven from Big Block 402, I would come over and I was like, man, if you need it, just come over and grab it. So his battery was dying because he was trying to get his car running. And he's like, this thing works awesome. It charges because it's like running your car. So what I do is even though I have a trailer and I have a generator, I can actually start that thing up and I can run the fans and in between rounds and cool the whole car down within 5 or 10 minutes. And that thing's charging the batteries and it's putting out 100 amps. And I had to gear it just right, but it'll put out 100 amps on that
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, I agree with BNR. The CS 144 is a better alternator. The problem is I didn't, because of the big Victor style cylinder heads, I didn't have the rear clearance to run one.
Mm.
They're deeper. That's why I went with the CS 130. BNR and I talked about this at length back when I was having all those problems. He suggested the 144, and I was gonna go that direction, but I
Yeah.
simply don't have the room because you know how thick the front edge of that Victor head is,
Yeah.
as compared to a factory style cylinder head. There was the back bearing up against the head would have literally put my belt almost 3/4 of an inch too far forward.
I think that's the one I have is a CS 144, I believe.
Off a Cadillac, most likely. Yeah.
It's a Cadillac and it's 140 amp.
Yes.
Because everything on this thing's electric. And when I would turn the alternator off and my times would be less stable. So I that's why I was like, I just leave it on now and I'll take the little 2 horsepower draw to keep it
Right.
more consistent.
I remember you talking about that. I think it was in one of your Wednesday
Yep.
lives. You were talking about that, the inconsistency because of the voltage. And that's exactly why I leave an alternator running too, because it will, the ignition systems just simply aren't as potent. And,
Mhm.
and if you're running an electric fuel pump, which I'm sure you are, I run
Yeah.
a mechanical. I've got an old school Carter mechanical on mine, but you won't get the fuel delivery.
Yeah.
And if God forbid you're injected, then you're hosed. Got to
Well,
have a running alternator.
on this car to go down the track, I've got 2 fuel pumps going. I got a water pump going. Now I don't turn the electric fan on. And obviously the ignition system plus the secondary nitrous system plus the solenoid. So there's quite a bit of amps coming off when you're going down the track.
Yeah. Um, back to your homemade battery charger though. When I was a teenager and I was messing with cars in the garage, my dad didn't have a electric plug in the wall battery charger,
Yeah.
and it had been sitting out back for years. An old rusted to shit Yardman real style lawnmower
Mm-hmm.
with it had the old school 3-horse horizontal shaft Briggs on it. And I took and mounted a Chrysler alternator that Dad had laying around in the shop to that damn thing and wired in the Chrysler regulator and made me a gas powered battery charger out of that damn thing. I think I was 13 years old when I built that.
Yeah.
That was back in the day when we had to
Figure.
figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I didn't have money. I mean, I grew up, poor white trash in California. I wanted to race, so
Same here.
I
Yeah,
had a paper route and mowed lawns just to buy my first vehicle. I mean, that's literally what I did from 10 to like I was 6 for 6 years. That's how I saved up to buy my vehicles.
Do you know where Norco is?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
That's where I grew up.
Oh,
That's where I
really?
went to high school. Yeah. No, I'm a
Yeah,
California kid.
yeah, Norco's right off the 15. I know right where
Yep.
Norco's at.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Yep.
had a
Just north of, what is it, 20 minutes or so north of Temecula.
yeah, yeah. I know right where Norco's at. Yeah, there was basically one little stop. They had like a Carl's Jr. We used to stop there all the time and eat. right off the free. You know exactly
Yep,
what I'm talking about.
that was our hangout. We called it 6th Street CJ's. I still remember that.
Yeah.
That was our hangout. Was that Carl's Jr. And we'd always
Yeah.
go to that Arco station. It was kitty corner from it, and go in there and you could make your own ice cream sundaes.
Yep.
And it was like 99 cents, and we'd stack them full of all the bullshit.
Yeah.
You were down. You were where? You were down in San Diego, weren't you?
Yes. But my parents lived, at 16, my parents moved to LA. I stayed in California. My parents moved to LA and I stayed in San Diego. I stayed in Poway. And,
What
so
the
I
hell
would
were
go up
they
there.
thinking?
What's that? Yeah, right. Well, they actually went to Canyon Country. So they're like in the Saugus area, and oh, look at this. Yeah. They were in the Saugus area. So, I used to commute back and forth and see them a lot. In fact, I was in LA when that whole earthquake happened, and the big one, all the freeways fell down and everything. That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born in Paramount General Hospital.
Yeah.
Is where I was born, and we lived in Garden Grove until I was 10 years old. And the neighbors stole one of my dad's Alaskan Malamutes, and butchered it and ate it. And that was when we decided it was time to leave.
Time to go.
That's when we went to Norco. And I can still remember the bumper stickers, the last American out. And I hate to sound that way, but bring the flag with you. It was bad back then. I have no idea what the hell it's like now. But yeah, they literally stole one of our dogs and ate it.
Wow. In 2020, it was really when that whole pandemic happened. It really got madness. Like when I noticed that all the toilet paper was gone, I'm like, these people are fucking crazy. Like literally,
right?
If they can be manipulated to do this, what else can they be done? Like this is just an experiment to what they can do to you later on. So this is just a pre-run. And so I need to get out of an area that can be manipulated this hard, this fast, and this quick. So yeah,
you and I are on the exact same page, brother.
Yep. So
I was there. Have you seen the Mickey Willis videos, Plandemic?
No, I haven't. No.
I have. Well, that he actually produced them and published them for free. No charge to buy them, download them, whatever. You can watch them completely free. But I happen to have them. Mm-hmm. I'll throw them in that. I'll throw them in your folder.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. You probably already know 90% of what you're going to see in there, but boy, it opens your eyes.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
People coming forward. Basically saying, fuck it, they're probably going to kill me for this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually called Plandemic.
Oh, I think I heard it, or I'm not saying I was like, but I just one day was like, yeah, it was the Plandemic. I think I saw it somewhere and I was like, that is the truth. That is the most clear thing. It's not a pandemic. You said it wrong. It's Plandemic.
Yeah. And I've been calling it that from day one too. I think it, those of us, like me and you and so many others of us, we just know, and it just comes natural to call it that.
Yeah. The virus, it's the election flu, right?
Right. Well, did you see here? It wasn't too long ago when the port workers were striking or something, and we almost had another toilet paper apocalypse.
Yeah. Right. Right. That actually started to happen in Memphis area, where things were being bought off the shelf. Oh my God, we're going to lose everything. And all of a sudden all the peanut butter went off the shelves. And you're like, how does that happen? Where do you zone in on? We're going to take all the peanut butter. That's what we're going to do. And no toilet paper this time, and not peanut butter. That's what we're going to take.
Yeah, and
actually, that's in the 50s and the 60s, the government would watch peanut butter sales to determine the economy. if peanut butter sales went up, they knew the economy was going down
Really?
because people use that for a protein substitute
Mm-hmm.
over meat.
Yeah,
Okay.
peanuts are a great source of protein.
But peanut butter is very expensive right now. So
It is.
Yeah, everything is.
Oh yeah, everything is.
I eat a lot of peanut butter, and yeah, we get it at Costco in those big things, but it's expensive.
Mater's guy at Texas Motorplex have a one-wire alternator mounted to an edger to charge his battery.
That's what I have. Literally, I took
Yep.
an edger. They had a garage sale next door. Engine was blown up. I tried to rebuild it. I went down and got one of those Predator, 3-horse. I had the alternator here, and I just used all the little clips. And I used, I used a set of jumper cables that were like no good anymore for one end. I cut those off, put them on the end. So now I just have jumper cables, put them right on.
Yeah, put them right on your battery. And the cool thing about that is you don't have to worry about having somewhere to plug in a fucking battery charger.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
If it's a nice day out and I don't want to start up the generator and I just want the breeze, man, I could just run that, And what's nice about it too is that, I've got a big lot on the side of the house here where we poured concrete, I can, if I have a battery that's dead, I could just wheel that right out there, start it up, come back 10 minutes later, car fires right up.
Yep.
You could do the same
Jason's
thing with
garage
a York
jumped in.
compressor from a Ford and do the exact same setup and run a compressor that way.
Oh yeah, huh?
Hook it to an old propane
Oh yeah,
tank
yeah.
off of a York.
My very first service truck I ever had was a 64 Chevy. It was a 64 Chevy C30 with a flatbed on it. It had a blowed up 305 in it. I bought off the neighbor. And I built a little, this was in my early days of learning engines, and I learned a lot from this. My best friend in high school, his grandpa was a machinist. He had a machine shop there in Norco, and he had a 350 laying around it was bad. It was rough. I had to beat the slugs out of that thing with a 5-pound sledgehammer. They were so rusted in, but the heads were total junk. And the 305, the lower end, was scattered. Hell, I found the number 7 connecting rod under the battery box when I bought the truck, or what was left of it anyways. So we built a 350 with 305 heads on it with the small valves. He come up with a set of shelf pistons that had a 240 deep dish in them that gave about a 9-to-1 compression ratio. And that engine was friggin' done at $4,000. It ran like a fucking diesel.
Yeah.
Torque, it was a 3 on the tree, but before I got it, somebody butchered the 3 on the tree and put a Hurst 4 shifter on it. And I just left the 3-speed in it. But that damn thing, you could be going 10 miles an hour in high gear and just gas on it, and that fucker would go. I had an old school small throat, like a 500 CFM Carter AFB on it. Remember those? From the 60s. They had the little 4 1/8 inch throat on them.
Yep.
So I played hell finding an air cleaner that would fit it, but I did. But what a great little combination. And that was when I really started getting into engine science.
Yeah.
And I found out how well this thing ran compared to any other Chevy I'd ever driven.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Nope, that's not it. No, it was an AFB style
AFB.
carburetor.
This is the WCF.
Yeah, not quite that old.
My screen's really small, so I apologize. But it looked like a Carter from the screen I'm looking at.
Hold on a sec. Come on, StreamYard. Here, show that up. Throw that up again so Shane can see it. I just full screened you.
Thank you. So that way I can see the chat too. Oh yeah. Okay.
WCF.
Yep.
One of these days I'll get around to rebuilding that one.
Yeah,
those are actually really cool carburetors. But anyways, but yeah, that was just such a cool little build, and it got good fuel economy, and it did what I needed it to do. And a service truck.
Mm-hmm.
But back to why I started talking about this service truck was I took one of those 23-gallon, the big tall propane tanks,
Yep.
and took the valve out of it, and I mounted it under the cab, and I used a York compressor mounted on the engine to keep air. So I had shop air on my service
Yep.
truck.
That's awesome.
And I took a regular cutoff switch for a regular, 110 or 220 air compressor, wired it into the circuit, just ran on 12 volts instead of 220, whatever, and controlled the clutch on that York compressor. So it was
simple.
It was super simple and it was hands off. But that's the kind of shit that I did as a teenager.
That's awesome.
I was 17 years old when I built that truck.
That's cool.
To go make money.
Yeah, that's good.
I challenge you to find a 17-year-old with that kind of ambition today.
I was going to say right now, never. They're just on their phone. Yeah, really? Well, what? Hey, do you mind if I tell a little story real quick about
Go for it.
about the Stoneheads? Okay. So everyone always kind of knows, I've explained how I got into engineering and whatnot, but my very first automotive experiment, I had a 318. And this is when I learned about port velocity, head velocity, and power. So I took a 318 and my buddy had these 915J heads, right? And so they were like 360, bigger valves,
bigger valves, bigger chambers.
Bigger chambers, but now you're going to shroud the valve on a 318 bore, right? Yep. So it didn't fit. So I was like, I'm just going to notch it out. So I did. I notched it out, put them on there, and it fit. My car
you notched the bores.
Huh?
You notched the bores.
Yeah, I notched the bores so the valve, the 202 valve would fit, right? But my car slowed down and I couldn't understand why. But then I got that Mopar book on the engines and it explains in there why, because of the port velocity, shrouding valves. And that's when I realized, wow, it's not just about how big the valves are and everything. It's about how well it's going in.
Right.
What kind of numbers. And that's why on the 6.1 that I have here that's going in my 68 Dart, it's got a bigger bore than a 5.7. So I went with the Eagle heads on purpose. I have a set of Apaches here, which is 6.4. But because the bore's smaller, I went with the 5.7. Now they flow great on a 5.7, but even better on a 6.1 because the port is that much bigger,
Right.
And so my buddies at Frankenstein ported those heads, and they flow like 400 CFM. So they're pretty good. And that's a factory head. So it's just a factory head with the factory valve. We didn't go bigger on the valves, and they flow like 390 something.
Oh shit, that's a hammer.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, and that's a factory head. And then the Apaches, I believe they're getting like 420 or 430 out of them, but that's the max flow. But what you're really looking at is like the 300 and the 400 numbers. They're already over 300 CFM at those numbers at that low lift. So if you can get that valve off the seat that fast, that means you're going to have like say, almost 200 degrees of duration at 300 CFM, on the intake side. And that's just the atmosphere pushing all that air in, it's just creating a low pressure zone.
Right.
The atmosphere is going in. So the better the atmosphere can get in, the more power it's going to make. So yeah, they're pretty good. It's a pretty amazing head factory.
Speaking of shrouding and everything, I get asked a lot why I took a perfectly good standard bore 440 and punched it 55 over to make it a 451. Did I want to trick everybody? I get questions all hell half the time, people call it a 451 stroker and it's not, it's built in a 440 bore or 440 block. But those heads have a 220 valve in them or a 200 valve in them.
Yep.
That bigger bore makes a difference. Those heads, like I was talking earlier, they flow nice.
Yeah.
And sticking them on a 432 bore would make a difference with that big of a valve. I wouldn't go as far as saying horribly shrouded, but it gets pretty close to the wall.
Yeah. And that was why I noticed that the 400s, when I was at the local wrecking yards, you could find those. The 400s always made more top end power than the 440s.
Mhm.
So for
Well,
me,
they're 4.34 bore out of the box.
yeah, exactly. And then they've got a shorter stroke. So I didn't really care about the low end because my converter was a 3500 stall. So I really didn't give a shit about below 3500. I was looking at 3500 and up. So,
Mhm.
people are like, oh, yeah, we're going to test this thing to 2500. I was like, well, who cares? Your converter's 35. So let's start
Right.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's,
start where the converter starts.
yeah, exactly.
Or a couple hundred RPM under if you really want, but there's no point going below I mean, that's where you're launching. That's where it matters.
Yeah, typically what I have people do is they'll send me a dyno card for a converter. Let's just say it makes peak torque at 4,000. So usually what I would do is I get the converter which is 500 under it, right?
Mhm.
So that way you can flash it. So that way when you hit it, you flash it, and then that way the engine's pulling it to peak torque. So that way it's always on the peak torque pushing, and that way you get a longer pull on the stator. And
Right.
that's where the magic happens. The longer you can keep that 1.2 K value going as far as the magic of the converter, the better it's going to be. The second that stator starts moving, you go from 1.2 right back down to like 1.95 or whatever it is, depending on the efficiency of it. But so the longer you're into that. So typically that's where I start. Some engine combinations are different, but I usually am 500 underneath. The 500 above the peak torque. So that way, oh, sorry,
That
500 under. So yeah, you pull it up to it.
that kind of strategy is what good 60 foots are made of.
Exactly.
Anybody
Exactly.
anybody that wants to try and prove me wrong, go for it. But Shane knows,
Yeah,
that's what makes a car fast.
that's right. 1/10 at the 60 is 2/10 at the 8th mile.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just for most cars, most V8 cars. It's different with other things, but most V8 cars, 1/10 is 2/10 down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot. I ran my 60 foot on that 795 pass was a 186, which isn't great. It's not bad, but it's not great. I think there's more there.
Yeah.
And I only left at 2 grand
Hmm.
and drove into the converter. Like I said, it was a freaking shakedown
Yeah.
pass. And and to your point, a tenth and a 60 foot is 2/10 on the big end. That's why I see my truck getting in the mid sevens
Oh yeah.
pretty
I-
easy.
What was your mile an hour?
80, 88.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got more to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
88, and it's
Mhm.
still got a tall gear in it too. That was a 355 gear
Yeah.
with
You
a
know, I
30-inch tire.
at the No Name Nationals, I couldn't hit my car like I normally do because this thing's set up to be hit really hard. It's a
Mhm.
glide, so you got to hit it really hard. I
Right.
wasn't able to get out of the 1.30 60-foot times. And normally I'm in the 1.2 somethings with this car
Mhm.
in the glide. But I just couldn't seem to get it. I actually had to take some of the nitrous hit away to go. I was running it at like 85%, and then about a second and a half in,
What
I was
was slowing you down?
uh,
Were you busting the tires or were
yeah. Yeah, but see, normally when you run hard tires down a track, it's gonna pick up all the glue and move it around, right? Not a
right.
slick won't do that. So that's why I was treating it as a no prep event. So I set up the suspension for no prep, and I missed the combination when I raced Barkley. I nailed it when I raced the other guy, and then it was basically set up for Mopar Joe. And I told him
Gotcha.
exactly what I was going to run. I was like, this car is going to run a 570. It's got a small tune up in it. It's an A to B tune up, so it's 570, 123 miles an hour, and I'm going to probably do it like a 130 60-foot time. And I handed him my time slip and I signed it and I said, "See, here you go." When we raced, I said, "Now this is what you got to get to. I'm not going to change my tune up. This is what I'll run when I race you for the next 2 match races." So that's all I could get at No Name. Out of this car. Just I
The
couldn't hit it
DA
any
was
harder.
really high this year too because it was so damn muggy.
Yeah,
Do
and
you
it was
think
hot.
that had any effect on Cookie
Mhm.
Monster?
Yeah, it did. I noticed that I was running 6 2016s, 619 without the nitrous on this car when I was getting it
Mhm.
tuned up, and then it progressively slowed down as it was getting hotter out. Obviously, when I took it to Newport, it went to 634, so I lost literally a tenth out of it. So like I said, I was only running a 200 kit on this thing. I've had this thing spooled up to 350, and the system on this will go to 500. So I'm barely touching what I can do in this thing, and I couldn't go any put it down anymore. 'Cause I don't have a progressive system for the timing. So here's the problem, is that if I set this car up and I run 150 off the line, so that way there's no delay. I launch right, and I'm pulling out say 6 degrees. If I run a 200 kit and I pull out, let's just say, I'm going to pull out X amount of percentage. So let's just say I'm pulling out 25%. So I want to launch it at 75%. So technically, that should be right at my 150. But to do that, I have to run the 8 degrees of nitrous. That's actually because I'm running so much nitrous retard that now that new 25% is not a 150 kit anymore. That's a 125. So
Right.
because you're pulling out the nitrous, your kit doesn't work as well because 1 degree in this is incredible with nitrous. So if you're pulling out 2 extra degrees and you're not putting the correct amount of nitrous to it, you're actually way pulling it back. So I had to find
Right.
that.
So what you're giving it with fuel, you're losing in ignition.
Exactly. That's correct. So I had to figure out the balance of, okay, I'm going to pull, do I want pull out, 10%? So I'm running 90% off the line. Is that going to give me my 150 kit? So that's what you're trying to find. And I was looking at that at 60 foots. So I was basically 60 footing it and getting it was slowly whittling down like 135 to 132. Then I went to 130, but I couldn't get under the 130 mark. And then when I went and looked at some of the other guys later on, after I was out, they were getting down into the 125s. And that's where I should be with this cars in the 125s. Well, that's what I've done before. So the track came around later.
It's funny what Dean says here. 88 miles an hour, science experiment number. John Z. DeLorean's. If I had a nickel for everybody that said that at No Name National, or some reference to Back to the Future, I could have paid for that $1,000 worth of diesel fuel I burned on the trip.
Right.
And Dean was a million miles away, and he said the same thing.
That's funny. Well, guys, it's 10 o'clock here. I'm probably going to get jamming, but it was really great hanging out.
Yeah, I'm glad you stopped in, Shane. Awesome.
I took your advice, Professor P. Got another one coming.
Nice.
Now, all I'm waiting on now is the intake. Should be in Monday.
Awesome. Good
Your
job.
advice on the tunnel ram was perfect, man.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you.
Now
Makes
we're
my
going to
day
try it
because
on an
that's
FE.
why I do this. That's why I do this is to just to give out some knowledge. That's why we have fun with this. We're all trying to help each other out. I said it when I was with Ron in the announcement booth, is that the first year I was there, I was looking at some of the cars and I saw how they ran. The second year they got a little better. The third year they're getting even better. And I think some people have dropped seconds off their time. And just looking at how much better their vehicles are, how much better they are. And I just watched, me and my son and my daughter, we just sat there and watched these cars go down the track. And I was like, these guys were complete rookies. And now they're actually decent drivers now. So I actually said that I'm proud of you guys because you guys are like doing really good, man. It's amazing, So
yeah, just on the one run I did in the truck, I dropped 0.6.
Yeah.
My best pass last year was 8:51.
Wow.
And I can cruise around town.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, that VRS changed that game. Changed that game big time. I can actually drive the truck on the street and not load it up.
That's
with that demon, I got it where I could get it, in the mid 12s cruising, but I had the idle circuit so damn lean that it by the time I got it to where I could cruise it at 12.2, 12.3, 12.4, it was so freaking lean that it bogged bad if you jump on it. And you could watch the AFR. It would slam into the 16s, and then and the power valve would open and it would come back. But it just, that combination does not work on the street with a 2-circuit carb. It's freaking great on the track, but
yeah,
the VRS changed the game.
yeah.
That's how you run a monster cam on the street.
Exactly.
VRS.
The one last thing before I go is that we're actually using the very last of the chilies we made. We roasted them up, and then we put them into a chili that's actually cooking right now. We're going to cook it and eat it on Sunday, so it's going to cook slow cook for 2 days. So we put it up, we blended them up, cut them up, put them inside the chili, the meat. So we cooked it into the meat.
Oh
put it into the
man,
crock pot.
that's going to be good.
Yeah. So
right, I'm glad you enjoyed them.
Oh man, it was like a little piece of home, you know what I mean, in a bag. It was just
right.
It's the simple things like going to a taco shop and seeing cilantro and limes and jalapeno, like your hot peppers and your hot carrots,
As soon as you mentioned them Hatch green chilies, and it was it was one of the Wednesday night lives. I told Jason, I said, we're taking Shane a bag of frickin' chilies. I said, you can't get them back there. I said, we're taking Shane a bag of chilies.
Yeah, I've gone to the Whole Foods and the markets, and you just can't get them. Not like those. You know, I mean, you might get some, but they're like the leftover crap because the people here don't know what good chilies are.
Weird looking things.
Yeah, it's like alien.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Those came from the local farmers market.
Oh, that's awesome.
Got them here,
Yeah.
So it's where you live.
right. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. All right. Well, you guys have a good live, and thank you for having me. And I'll stop in on some Friday nights when I'm out here. I got some work to do and finish up. So
awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah. Take it easy, guys. Have a good night.
See you later.
Bye. See you later, Brian.
What's going on, Mr. Brian?
Oh,
and Bear
not
Rose?
much.
You guys jumped on the panel and just got to listen.
Hey,
it's all right with me.
I see Jay's comment. It's like a Wisconsinite and squeaky cheese. Hell yes. I know all about them squeaky cheese curds. Man, that shit is good.
I was always told if you're not the smartest guy in the room, then keep your mouth shut and listen.
Right.
And if you are the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong fucking room.
Well, I'm no dummy, but I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to call it what it is. It's a fucking honor to have Shane Polito in my life.
Heck yeah.
That's just cool. Him and I talked on the phone. And you saw when I mentioned it in John's live a comment that we may have a surprise guest. Without completely letting the cat out of the bag, that's who it was. Shane and I were talking on the phone while I was coming up the hill with my new lift. He called me this afternoon.
Well, it's cool you're doing T-shirts for him too.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that at No Name, and that's actually why he called. He couldn't find me. I sent him the link, and I opened him a port on my server like you have, Brian, and he. Just wanted to talk about it, and how to do it and everything. And fuck, we talked shit. I was on the phone with him for 35, 40 minutes coming up the hill. It was cool. We were just bullshitting. But yeah, pretty damn cool Cookie Monster shirt coming out. See, he had the picture that's going to go on the back of the shirt on his phone at No Name, and he showed it to me. And I'm like, dude, we got to put that on a fucking shirt. That's just all there is to it.
I've noticed that when you get on the phone with somebody else in this community, you better not have something to do.
No plans.
Yeah, because you're going to talk for a while. I don't care. Everybody I have talked to from this community has been like that.
Well, because they're
the very first time I talked to them, you just keep going and going. And
Well, it's like it's like when I the first time I ever met Mopar Al in person was when I rolled into the inaugural original No Name Nationals in little Chrysler 200. You know, me and John Wilburn talked for a minute at the gate, but of course, John Wilburn, and being the inaugural, he was freaking busy. We talked for a few minutes, and I parked the car, and here comes Al running up to shake my hand. And I tell you, we talked as if we'd grown up together.
oh yeah,
You know, and that's everybody in this frigging community. You know, we'd never seen each other in person in the world. Yeah, that's just how this whole damn community is. And it's like I always tell everybody, you know, that's never been, you won't find an asshole there.
Mm-mm.
There just
Even
ain't
the
any.
extended community, you know, the guys that couldn't make it. Like 3 weeks ago, I was talking to Slow Shop and Customs. He's in Sweden, and we was talking Y blocks.
That's cool.
I don't know what the cost was for him. I hope it was free, but it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, you know, and then you got Dean Stevenson, you know,
Yeah.
he's on the other side of the friggin' world. Well, probably, you know, a little closer to Sweden than we are, but you know, he's one of the coolest cats in here. Always got something cool to say. So what have you been up to, Brian?
Oh, working.
Yeah.
I did get that. That's when I said I kind of ragged on Holly. I've got that steering coupler. It's a U-joint coupler for my steering because I want no slop in the steering whatsoever.
Yeah. You were telling me about that on the phone.
Yeah, I went on Amazon and looked at it and paid like $25 for one. And I had looked at other ones like Borgenson makes them, but they were like $80.
Yep.
And then I looked at the one that Holly sells, and it is the same one I bought off Amazon.
Yep.
So what they are doing is they are buying these things in bulk and then selling them.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Two-thirds
marking it up, you know, and it's
two-thirds, if not more than, of what you find on Holly's website came over on a ship from China. You and I both know it.
You know, it's like, okay, if you're going to buy Chinese parts, at least don't overpay for your Chinese parts.
Right.
You know, that just makes people stupid.
Back to the alternator story, you know, on my truck. That's, you know, the second Power Master, I sent the fucker back for a refund. And, you know, if it's going to behave like China, at least it, you know, admits it's fucking made there. And shit, the Chinese cheap, I think I paid $110 for that fucking, it's a chrome. And I didn't even get it because it was chrome. I got the chrome one because that's what was available now. You know, it was $110, 140 amps, CS 130 alternator. And the fucking thing's been rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
What are
you going to do?
Two Hacks is saying, Dust Devil, do you still need one? I've got an extra one from S&W. Guess he's talking about
already on the car. That fucking steering is rock solid now. Now I just got to get the front end alignment.
Yeah, I saw that you were talking about it in the Discord. You're really happy with the way it turned out.
But and now I'm just looking at brake stuff. I want to go through all the braking system and make sure. Just want to make sure the car's safe, and then in the spring I'm going to run it, and then worry about getting faster.
Right. How's Jed doing?
He's doing all right.
Is he doing all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just talking to him when your live came on. I was talking to him while Wilburn's live was on, and
well, I know that the subject came up. Actually, John Cope brought it up in Wilburn's live. You know, he was concerned about him, and a lot of us are. Just you know, and John, you know, and Wilburn was right.
If you want to see him, you got to come to Indy. Because he's still planning on going to Indy. He's not changing any of his plans.
Yeah, he'll kick its ass. He kicked its ass once. He'll kick its ass again. If it's even that.
Yeah.
You know, last I heard, he's still waiting on results. But I don't want to. Just like Wilburn said, I don't want to spread misinformation. But there are a lot of us that are concerned.
Yeah.
How he's
Yeah,
doing.
it's just a lot of it is if he wants people to know, he's going to say it.
He'll
So
say it. Yeah.
Right. But Jed's not like that. He's not that guy that's going to throw himself a pity party.
yeah.
So what have you been into, Mr. Tunnel Ram Mafia inductee?
Which one?
Kim, I'm talking to you.
Which one? We're all members now.
I know.
I'm
Well,
putting
I'm not
multiple
yet.
carbs on everything.
I'm technically not, but the
You
rat
need to be.
Come
the
on.
rat might as well be a tunnel ram with them 2.5-inch spacers under the carburetors. But
That's what I'm doing. That's the closest you can come with an FE.
yeah, well,
That sucks.
that's not entirely true. If you can find one of the adapters and put a Cleveland tunnel ram on it,
Yeah.
but
But
you're
to
gonna
actually, buy an actual one, yeah.
yeah. And I'll
That's
tell
the
you
problem
what,
with the FE.
if I can find one and I do move forward with doing the crazy threes on an FE platform, that I'm going to try real damn hard to mimic that engine that Brent Likens did. I don't know. Do you follow Brent?
Not for a while.
You're familiar with him. Do you remember Project Junkie Junk?
Junkie G, yeah.
Yeah, the 352 that ended up making 534 naturally aspirated horsepower and like 450 something foot-pounds of torque. Eat your heart out, shrouded valves. Tell me that wouldn't be fun to do, and I wouldn't even begin to want to count the pennies he had into that. But that's why he did it, was for the data.
The hard thing with Ford, though, with an FE Ford, that's where a 385 starts.
Yeah. But
that just hurts.
you will, yeah,
But it's not the same.
Right. And I was just going to say that. And I love the 385 series. I love them. I'd take one over a big block Chevy any day. Not that I hate big block Chevys. They're great engines.
I'd take one of them too.
Yeah. But, I would, if given the choice, I would choose the, 429 or 460. But it's not the same as an FE.
You ain't got the sound.
Me and Jason have been kicking around for, I don't know, the last 6-8 months about putting zoomies on the rat, and we've come to the conclusion that as cool as it would look,
you lose bottom end.
Oh, in that car, who gives a shit? We will lose that badass FE sound. And so, so those weed burners are, we made the final decision. We were just talking about it last night.
After I put them on ours,
as cool as it would look and everything, the weed burners are going to stay.
Lake style is the best. Yeah.
I think it's cool that he actually drag races that rat because not a lot of people do.
That is the first.
Usually built just for like show and cruising. I think it's cool that he does.
True rat rodders out there doing it all with them.
Yeah, well, that is the first time he's ever been down a professional track, a real drag strip, and the pass that I made in that car, the 762, I think it was fucking fast. Yeah, 762 at 87 miles an hour, I think is what it was. He took it to a show, so it's not here, and the time slips are still in the glove compartment of it. But I want to say
he wants them to leave.
I could go back and look. I made a short. I told the time in it. I could go do that. But I remember it was 87 mile an hour. But yeah, that car was not built to go down the drag strip. But It is now. Uh-oh, I think Brian froze.
I've been thinking about that for a while. You use the stock frame, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think
Well,
that's where your steer come from.
well, that's not a stock truck frame. That's a 35 sedan frame.
Yeah. They're
And
real
it's got
flexible.
the absolute worst iteration of a suicide front axle under it. Because
Yeah.
what they did, well, for one, it needs to have wishbone trailing arms instead of the singles the way they are. But what they've done is, we'll say, okay, here's the trailing arm, here's the frame back here, and here's the front axle. They've welded perches, and the transverse leaf spring is clear back here.
Yeah.
There's so much friggin' play in that front
Out of
end.
point of attack. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I've already got the plan put together. What I'm going to do is we're going to stick with a suicide axle just because it would destroy the look of the car.
Are you going to
put it-
suicide it? Or are you going to leave it center mounted?
Well, the
Suicide is when you go in front of the frame.
well, that's how it is. The
It is
axle
in front?
yeah, the axle is
Oh,
clear
okay.
out, and yeah, the axle is actually the center line of where the axle crosses is about right underneath the grill, maybe 2 inches back from how the grill comes
Yeah.
out at an angle like so. That axle sits right about back here. So and we were thinking put a Mustang 2 front end under it, or somebody's texting. Put a Mustang 2 front end or something like that underneath of it, but it would just
Maybe this
ruin
time.
the look of the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay with the spring behind the axle, but I'm going, and it will end up moving the axle back just a little bit from what it is, but not enough to be noticeable and wreck the look of the car. Directly underneath the radiator, right at the front edge of the frame horn, I'm going to weld across, a nice piece of 250 wall, probably 2x4 steel to join the frame. And
Yeah.
that's going to become my spring perch.
Are you going to plate it and box the frame in? At least to the first body mount?
At least to the first body mount. And we are going to put a 6-point, if not an 8-point cage in it, which will stiffen it up a lot.
Because those old frames, they move all over
They
the
move
friggin'
all
place.
over the friggin' place. Yeah, no,
There's a
we're gonna
reason they had 120 body bolts in them.
right. Yeah, no, we're gonna do a bunch of strengthening, and a total redesign on that front end. See, we didn't build that front end; that was under the car when he bought the
Yeah.
car. and
Actually,
then-
a stock straight axle is the best way to go. Don't go with an aftermarket kit. Because a stock straight axle is already set up for the Ackerman. They're good from 108 to 120 wheelbase. They're already set and ready to go.
yeah, but I'm
The
gonna have to
aftermarket ones, they're geared towards the gasser,
right.
but no weight on the front.
Right, but I'm gonna have to at least use a certain amount of aftermarket parts to do what I'm gonna do. I may utilize the axle that's still there, but I'm gonna have to get a different
good one.
spring. And what's that?
It's a good one.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't even know what the hell that axle is. Who knows if it's the original axle. It's certainly not mounted in the original way. The spring is mounted in the original location. And see, that's where they got lazy when they put that car together. They wanted to put that straight axle out in the front like that. So instead of moving the spring, they left the spring in its factory location in the
And
frame,
rolled over.
and then brought the arms out and just welded the damn spring shackles wherever. I mean, the spring shackles are 16 inches behind the axle.
Yeah.
I mean, it just don't work.
What degree are you running on your caster?
Not enough.
We go
I
a
don't.
full 10.
What's that?
We go a full 10.
Well, and see, that's exactly why I want to go with the wishbone arms, so I can adjust it.
We lost Brian. Dadgummit.
He's been freezing up. I think something's going on with his internet. But that's what.
Ever since you said that, I've gone. Well, I've tried to. I've been so goddamn busy that I'm way behind on watching videos. My comments are way behind.
Yeah, I've been busy too. We got some pretty exciting shit going on around here. I've acquired a new customer, really cool dude. He is the reason. Yeah, there's Dust Devil. My internet is screwing up. I kind of thought maybe he was because he kept freezing on us. And he's the reason why we got the lift. He actually paid for the lift. The customer did. Yeah. But we've been talking about maybe getting into building turnkeys.
There's money in it.
I just gotta find the market.
And
just gotta
from
get
experience, rats are the best way to go. But you got to advertise them right. You got to advertise them into the hot rod market. Stand totally clear of classic markets.
Right.
And you'll pull good money out of them because your investment is very low.
Right. Well,
not this rat is going to be a lot less, than a resto, but your margins are bigger.
Well, we were talking this morning. We're thinking more. We're talking more brand new body, new frame. Just build a car from the ground up with all new parts, like High Boys.
Going into the square body Fords,
possibly,
or High Boy,
no,
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, not High Boy trucks. Like your old school stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can buy fiberglass bodies, you can buy or build frames. I'll get to the point where I'll just build the frames, buy the body, build the frame, put the power plant in it.
You can buy them all steel if you want. There's a company in Hamilton, Montana. They bought all the stamps from Ford, and they're using the original material. Yeah. But
I know the all steel ones will bring more money.
Yeah, they cost a lot more. I think it was like $2,000 for a set of doors, bare bone doors. No latches, no hinges, no regulators, bare bone doors. But if you want all steel, and you can buy the car at a piece at a time.
Yeah,
they sell it all.
Yeah, it's something that we were kicking around, or he was kicking around, and he actually just threw it out there this morning. And I love the idea. But he's the one that owns the 48 Jeepster.
Oh, cool.
That I was showing pictures of a couple weeks ago.
I always wanted to chop one of them.
Not this one. This one is all original. And it's actually somewhat rare for a 48 because it's got the 148.6 in it.
Oh, wow.
Most of them had the 134 in them. The only drawback to the 148.6 is that they're freaking super hard to find parts for. But the good side of it is with this Jeepster, it don't need nothing. It needs some love. Is all in. It's a beautiful car. I showed the picture of it, up here a couple weeks ago. But it's basically a 20-something-year-old resto that's been very well taken care of. And it needs cobwebs blown out of it, gone through, made safe so she can drive it and enjoy it and take it to car shows kind of thing.
There's a guy here he's got a 50. I think it's 130. Anyway, I just passed on the job. He wanted me to rewire it.
Oh.
But it's like a barn find. It's his fishing truck is what it is. It's been in operation since 1950. But that's what he uses to go fishing, and it's totally 100% untouched. Well used.
This one actually still has its cloth wiring in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still
That's
6
why he
volt.
wants me to rewire it.
Yep, it's still 6 volt. It's super cool. I'm stoked to work on it. And it will definitely be featured on the channel. We've already talked about that and everything. And
way cool.
They weren't just cool with it. They were like, hell yeah. Put her out there. Let's see, what's Jeff and BNR talking about? BNR says Mickey Thompson Hemi Pontiac V8 had articulated push rods. The push rods move up and down 2 different tangent angles. 2-stage articulated system is a lot of fun to look at on the design sheet, even more when you see it in a video. I had to wait 15 years to see it in action. And Jeff said, BNR, wasn't there another engine built like that?
V8 with articulated push rods. Moved up and down 2 different tangent angles.
BNR says, Jeff, supposedly 16 sets of Hemi Pontiac heads sold. Wow. That's not very many. And speaking of numbers, I was actually doing some research on those Jeepsters. I've been doing a lot of research on the Jeepsters lately because I've got one coming to work on. In 1948, there was only 10,200 and something of them were made.
There never really was a lot of them. That wasn't their focus. The cool thing is, though, is you can still find them out there because nobody hot rodded them. Nobody
really
I think used them. If you bought a Jeep for a Jeep thing, you bought a flat fender. You bought that one to kind of go fishing in.
I think it'd be cool as hell to hot rod them, but back to frame strength, that's one thing they don't have, but
zero.
You can build anything to do anything, it's like, your famous last words, get some metal hot, do whatever the hell you want. But, this particular one is not the one to do that to. It is a shining survivor. Everything about that car is just cool.
392 is more of a Hemi than the 426.
I could agree with that.
I always had a soft spot for the first gen Hemis.
Oh man, you and me both.
I know they weren't the big powerhouse of them all, but they're just something about it.
Boy, they could be, though. Well, for decades they were referred to as the Donovan Hemi because Donovan did everything with them that made the power.
And they were actually never meant to be powerhouses.
No.
They were the first flex fuel engines. They'd run on anything.
Well, that was a pure accident how they figured out how to make the 426 run as well as it did.
They threw a little boost to it, and holy cow, that thing came alive.
No, they threw a bunch of timing at it trying to blow it up because he was sick of the fucking thing not running. And holy cow, it came to life. I want to say wasn't it Don Garlitz that did that?
He was one of the first, yeah.
I want to say it was Big Daddy Don Garlitz. They couldn't get him to run, and he was pissed at it, and he just winged the fucking distributor, and I'm gonna blow this son of a bitch up, and I can have my other engine back, kind of deal. And wow, it came to life. It was that bigger bore. It needed more timing. Because the bore was bigger. It's all about the time, all about the travel of the flame front.
And that dome.
Yeah. And then they started putting a bunch of boost on them, feeding, I mean, hell, shit, it's not uncommon to see a Keith Black Hemi today, making 2,000 horsepower per cylinder.
Yeah.
Burning nitromethane, of course, but Mickey Thompson built a two-engine dragster with a 392 Hemi and a flathead Ford V8 coupled together. They got bored one day, headed to Bonneville Salt Flats and raced it there too. That's cool.
Have you ever been?
Me? No.
Oh man, you got to do it. You're not that far away.
Really, I'm not. There's a lot of shit I got to do. Trying to remember the town. Look at this paperwork here. The outfit I bought that lift from is up in your neck of the woods. Nampa? Where the hell's Nampa? Idaho.
Way over on the other side of the state, right by Boise.
So it's not your neck of the woods.
It's where my wife is right now.
Mechanics.
4.5 hours.
Mechanics Superstore is where I ended up getting that lift from. It's an Atlas 9,000. 9,000 pound 4-post lift. It's got the long. It's long and tall. Because I'm tall.
So you can get under it. Get another.
So I'm not bumping my head all the time, and long enough because I do a lot of truck stuff. It's $4,500.
Not bad at all.
No, not bad at all.
I thought about getting one for the outside, pouring a pad alongside of the shop and put it in a 4-post there.
I was really wanting to go with the Wildfire, but the Wildfire was priced right, but holy shit, it was $800 to ship it. $800 in frickin' freight, and this being an Atlas has a warehouse in Phoenix. So I bought it through Mechanic Superstore, and I just drove down to Phoenix and picked it up. Burned $45 worth of diesel fuel. That's kind of a no-brainer. Let's see.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you are looking for a lift, watch Facebook Marketplace, go to car shows, go to Cars and Coffee.
Yep.
There is automotive shops, little independent shops that are going under left and right everywhere nationwide.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but it's a good time to get a good one. Hate to take advantage of a bad situation for somebody, but at least they get something out of it.
Right. They get something out of it and you get something out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully the election will go right and things will change and people stop suffering so damn hard. Rapid Transit J says, "There's a private seller by me selling 4-post for $3,400 and $3,900 for an XL. That's not bad. Mine would be considered an XL because it's tall. The thing goes up 6 foot 8 inches underneath. So my 6'2" ass can get under there and not whack my head on shit all the time. And I can put it up in the air and park my truck under it." That's the other nice thing.
Yeah,
you need another parking spot in the shop.
Or if you have one that's held up for parts, you can put it up there and you can still get another one in under it and work on it.
Oh, exactly. Well, I've got plenty of room, and I've got, the hell is that shop? 1,800. I think it's 1,800 square feet. It's good size. I can get plenty of cars in there. But yeah, like you said, it's nice to, like the Jeepster project. It's going to be, and that's the first thing that's going to go on the lift. Hell, he bought the lift. But that's what's, it's going to go in there. It's going to be there for not a real long time. It doesn't need a lot, but I'm probably going to put new brakes on it, and shake down the suspension. It's likely maybe it needs bushings or, who knows. But, the idea is to make we're calling it the knot rod. It's not a hot rod. It's a knot rod. So for a short period of time, it's gonna be Tony's knot rod garage. But it's friggin' cool.
That old everything rubber is gonna need attention.
Oh, absolutely. But in the grand scheme of things, that's really piddly shit. When you break it all down, it's piddly shit. It does the engine purrs like a friggin' kitten. When I first went over to his house and seen the car, I said, well, let's hear it run. I jumped in it and, it hadn't run in weeks. It still got the push button on the floor, for the starter. It's all original. Pulled the choke and it cranked over a few times before, to get fuel up in the carburetor, and it just lit off, and that little thing just purred. 70 horsepower is what that little flathead 6 is rated at. Little one barrel and a McDonald's straw for an exhaust pipe on it. Just a cool little car.
Is that one a vacuum fuel pump? Mounted on the firewall?
No, okay. It is a cam driven diaphragm style fuel pump.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it's going to need a little bit of attention. The pump works, but it's got a sediment bowl on the bottom of the fuel pump, and it's leaking a little bit. So I'm going to have to find seals for that, seal that up. It's actually got two of them. It's got a sediment bowl on the bottom of the fuel pump, and it's got a sediment bowl right at the carburetor.
Right at the carburetor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. You can watch them both fill up.
Yeah.
It's just neater than I'll get out.
What else is really cool is now they've got, and I've already found them, and we'll probably go this direction, but they've got, you can buy the new sediment bowl assembly that goes on the carburetor.
Yeah, with a filter in them.
With a filter in them, which is nice.
And you can get them in clear plastic too.
Nah, I'd rather
if you're looking for like maybe drag strip legal. That is one way to go if you want to keep the retro look.
Remember, knot rod, not hot rod.
I know. Come on, bring that 70 horses down the track. Come on, let's do it.
I actually it was the day before yesterday when I went over to their house and we bought the lift. I took the truck. He had seen the truck when he came over here to the shop with Jason and met me, but I hadn't got the shifter. I had the new shifter cable in it, but not hooked up to the trans yet. So it was laying on the headers, so I couldn't start it for him, without a bunch of hassle. I wasn't about to melt a new shifter cable before it ever got to shift the transmission. I had enough of that shit at No Name. And, of course, his wife, she's into cars. Obviously, the Jeepster is hers, and
has it got the original brakes on it? I'm sure it does.
As far as I know, yeah.
To save yourself some aggravation, make sure there's two people when you bleed them brakes, because that master cylinder only holds about 2 tablespoons.
Yep. Yep. All
them down that road.
You and me both. But yeah, I drove the truck over to their house the other day, and she wanted me to do a burnout. Oh, this is an awful nice neighborhood. I don't want to piss everybody off. And she says, I don't give a shit.
Come on, wake the neighbors.
So I said, okay. And so I did a little one. No real smoke, no big black marks on the street. I just set the line lock, and I don't know, let them spin for maybe maybe 2 seconds, as I took off to leave. Just, there's your little taste. It's as fun as it is. I don't want to go around being an asshole with it. I'd be an asshole in my own neighborhood. My wife, she just said something this afternoon. She said, I see you left some more marks down the road the other day.
Just little ones.
They're only 13 inches wide. And,
yeah, exactly.
Maybe 60 feet long.
We don't count
right when you turn off the main drag to come into, and I'm out and we have a little neighborhood, but we're out of town. It's not, there's no cops around. It's, no bullshit like that. It's not so bad to do shit like that out here. But when I turn off the main highway to come, I got, I don't know, eighth of a mile maybe worth of straight before it curves, as it comes into the neighborhood. And right there's by now there's probably about a dozen sets of good thick black marks on the ground. Some courtesy of the rat and some courtesy of my truck.
You're doing your civic duty to keep that road black. You just haven't made it all the way through yet.
Yeah.
Just little patches at a time.
Well, they just restriped the road, so they paint where the double yellow center stripe comes down, they painted over part of my old one. It's like a damn male dog, you got to mark your territory. Drug dealers, shoot each other to mark their territory. Dogs piss on each other to mark their territory. I just leave black marks to mark my territory.
Heck, I used to do that on my Schwinn when I was a kid. Heck, it's in us.
I used to get my ass chewed out by my mom. You're wearing out your tires. Quit skidding. Come in hot and hit the brake and get all sideways and shit on the bicycle. I always did that.
I had a go-kart that was it only run off of one back tire. The engine set over and just off a centrifugal, only one back tire driven. Right. But boy, you turn that this way and get that camber to lift up, you could smoke that back tire just in a cookie and just big old cloud of smoke. Yeah.
Nice.
Then you switch the tire. So you got a little tread again.
I remember last time I put new tires on my Harley, before I went and got the new tires on the Harley, I
burned it down.
Decimated the old one. It's harder than you think to do a burnout on an 800-pound Harley, though.
You ever have it bite when you're coming off throttle?
Yeah, not where I got in trouble, but yeah.
And jump on you?
Yeah. Well, I've got fairly expensive Michelin Commanders on it now, so until they're due to get replaced, we don't do burnouts with them. But I'll tell you what, my buddy at the local bike shop, he talked me into those Commanders, those Michelin Commander 2s. And matter of fact, when I'd taken the bike in to have him, I was going to have him put it had some cheap ass tires on it. That's what, when I bought it. And that's what made it even more fun to just roast them, because I hated them tires.
Probably Continentals.
Metzlers. Yeah, they were Metzlers, and I just didn't like the way they were slippery. They were slick. They didn't bite the road good. And I was going to put, Harley Davidson comes out of the factory with Dunlops on. I was going to have him put a set of Dunlops, back on my Harley. And, because my bike is a limited edition. It's an 08 anniversary edition Heritage Softail, 1 of 5,000. So I figured, screw it. I'll put the factory Dunlops back on it. Well, he had the rear and not the front, or one or the other. I forget what it was. He had one, but not the other. And he said, I've got these Michelin Commanders. They're great tires. They were like $15 a piece more. Big deal, right? And he said, if you don't like them, I'll buy them back. all right, go ahead, put them on, and I will never, ever, ever recommend a different tire on a motorcycle. I love those damn tires. They hug the road like slicks hug the racetrack. Damn good tires. B&R says, so the Pontiac was the next factory hot rod 958 when Pontiac went to Pontiac, and they said yes, check for 10,000. Ray Nichols NASCAR Pontiac V8 engines delivered where Pontiac and Mickey Thompson started. 10,000 was a shit ton of money in 58. Yeah, it was. That's crazy.
I remember 58 or 59 was one of our first gas crises. Gas went to 36 cents a gallon. But if you factor it in to inflation, that's a lot of money.
Right. Oh, we were just
like,
we were just talking today about, about a hot rod. When we were talking about these high boys. Back, it was actually featured in a magazine. Back in 1985, he bought that car for 40 grand. And think about that. That's like $100 grand today.
Yeah.
$40,000 in 1985 was a shit pot full of money. I mean, hell, anymore you can't go to McDonald's for less than $20. Last track of my Facebook buddy, Farron Rhodes in 2020. He did port work for Patrick's Pontiac. He was my best teacher. That's cool, Dean. Sucks you lost contact with him, though. We were on Forge6.com together. He did ignition systems. He was perfect, pulled no punches, and taught me many great things about air and fuel distribution.
Cool.
Air and fuel distribution means everything. What the hell are those dogs barking at? Hang on a sec.
I will keep her going here. Clever guy will beat another butter churn until it cream. 2008 sucked. 2020 I stayed home. Learned how to port heads from Chad Spearner. And Top Pros cross from World V Factor Porting Group on Facebook. Built the 63 Grand Prix with the 520 horsepower 455. Sweet, the B&R.
Must have been a damn varmint or something out there. Got him fired up. Didn't require the shotgun, so we're good. Ah, shit, I shouldn't have said that. Might get demonetized. Oh, wait, I'm not monetized, so I don't give a shit.
I don't monetize any of my lives.
I fell behind on watch hours, so now I got the subs, but I still can't turn on the monetization yet. I checked it this morning when I set this live up. I was at 2555, so I need about 1,500 watch hours yet. And I was almost there. Shit, at one point, I had like 3,800 watch hours. But when I quit doing the lives, boy, I paid for it. Yeah, I don't think
this works.
What's that? What you doing there? Oh, thank you. Yeah, no,
never been in the live and done that.
yeah. Thank you, man.
No problem, man.
Yeah, I've gotten a few supers. The supers do work, and I got my store tab set up, which that's a little bit of a pain because I can actually use the store tab because my website happens to be compatible with YouTube. But when I first set it up, what it wants to do is show everything on the site on my store tab. Well, I don't want to have somebody click on Tony's Hot Rod Garage store tab and not see Tony's Hot Rod Garage merch and see everybody else's merch. So you have to go in there and pick what you want it to show, which is fine.
But it does work for the like
yeah.
Professor P when he puts up Cookie Monster, he'll be able to put that.
He will not be able to put that on his store tab. No. The only reason I'm able to make my store tab work is because I own the website.
You own it.
Yeah, I own the website and it's compatible with YouTube. So that's what I was saying. When I turned on my store tab and linked it with the website and everything, it wants to show everything on the site. And the complete site is comprised of 10, well, it's going to be 11 channels now, including Professor P.
But he can still hot link it down in the description.
Absolutely. Well, it's like in the description of this video and all my videos. If you look at it, you see where I've got that spot in the description. Check out our friends' channels, and I got a link to everybody's channel and a link to everybody's shop page, and then they can take that link as well and promote it on their channel.
We get Sir Ratsalot and the Honey Badger together. You got to do a shirt on that.
We should. We absolutely should. We absolutely should do that.
Hopefully you make a few bucks on it.
Maybe. Being honest, we gave away more of them than we sold.
Yeah.
We did sell a few. You did see the Honey Badger shirt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I showed that. Well, it's on the website now too, but what are you doing for merch these days?
Me?
Yeah.
Nothing yet. I've got a bunch designed up, but I've never pulled the trigger on them.
Hell, you got enough subs. It wouldn't hurt to throw you on the website. Shit, it don't cost nothing.
Yeah.
$20 to get the domain if you want the custom domain. And all you do is make money. I'm the one that spends the money when I make the shirt, when I make the sale, and then you get a kickback from it. If you
we can talk about it.
If you wanted to do something like that, I'd be more than happy.
I had one for a while through Wix or whatever. I let it go though.
Do you have a domain?
I had one for a while.
You had it, but you don't anymore.
Yeah, I let it go. My business card still got the address for them.
What was it? BarrowsGarage.com or something? I gotta get Shane one too.
Pretty much all it was just hot links to the videos. That's all I used it for. I didn't use it for any merch or anything like that.
But see, the way I do it, John Cope is actually the only one that doesn't have the custom domain linked to my website. Everybody else has, take any of them. For Rabid Transit Garage, Jay, his is shop.rabidtransitgarage.com. Takes you to the shop, his store page on my website. But since I buy the domain in order to be able to do that subdomain for him, I take the primary domain and I redirect it to the channel. And it don't cost.
I should do that because I go to lots of car shows and stuff like that, and
so you don't
I'm handing out business.
You don't.
When I go to a show, I'm working.
Right. You don't have to do the cumbersome, youtube.com/Bear Rose Garage 45678930 blah 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 blah. Just bearrosegarage.com.
Yeah.
And that throws them at your channel. And then, the merch page is a subdomain of that. Usually shop dot is what I do. Shop dot, whatever the domain is, takes you there. Let's see what.
It worked okay for getting people to watch more of my videos, but I just didn't want to pay for, it wasn't enough. And it was a company, a corporation too. So,
you must have been paying an awful lot for it.
It was, I don't remember what it was yearly.
Because when I first, and see, I
did it for 1 year. And then
see, I don't mark none of it up, that stuff. I don't mark any of it up. I just forward the cost to the channel. But because, I have it's not really a corporate account, but I have, what do they call it? There's a name for it, but technically I own all the domains. And when I have all these domains, I buy them freaking cheap. I get them for $10 a year, and when a channel first comes on, I buy 2 years up front. It's $20, and that's the only upfront.
I was paying way more than that a year.
Right.
Way more.
Right. And that's the thing.
Over 5 times.
You were probably paying for some kind of site management or something like that.
And then I couldn't even get into the email on it. So
that sucks.
That's why I just this ain't worth it. I can get rid of this.
Right.
But I got to get off my lazy ass and get out there and do some videos.
Me too.
I haven't done a video in a month and a half. I am, like I said, way behind. Well, we're in harvest season still, till the 4th. On the 4th, it goes back to normal. So it's asses and elbows day time. I haven't had a day off since the No Name Nationals.
Wow. That's kind of how it's been around here, man. I just been friggin' slammed with work. When I got back, all the trucks I take care of were all misbehaving, and big ticket stuff. And hell, the water truck is still broke down in the shop. We're waiting on parts, what should have been a $500 or $600 fix is now well exceeded $5,000.
Yep.
Literally, we have spent almost $4,000 in parts to access one bolt.
Oh, Lord.
Who the fuck dropped that ball?
Yeah.
That engineer failed.
Like an ignition box that's mounted underneath the battery tray.
Yeah, well, I started talking about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, exactly. Getting ate up by sulfuric acid his entire life. And granted, we did opt to replace one of the turbos because we had to take turbos off, and in the process of that, discovered that it wasn't long for this world. Did we want to replace it? Not really, but do we ever want to do this bullshit again?
Yeah.
No. So we just went ahead and bought. That damn turbo was $1,900. It was sitting on the porch when I got home with the lift today. But basically,
on fleet stuff. So
well, yeah, it's
they ain't very kind to the boss's equipment.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's basically the new version of the DT 466 International. It's a 2012 International 4300, medium duty truck. It's 2,500 gallon water truck is what it is. The oil cooler is just one of them plate and fin style oil coolers that mounts flat on the side of the block, like what's in the 6-liter and newer Fords, but a little bit bigger, obviously. Simple, easy. It's held on by 10 bolts around the perimeter of it. It's got the 4 O-rings on the back, up against the block, bolted down, done, right? One of those 10 bolts is behind the EGR cooler. Well, and the hell of it is you got like this much room. I thought, well, I can get a 1/4-inch extension in a shallow socket and, weasel it in there. It's so close, you can't get a 1/4-inch drive extension. And I've got Snap-on tools. I got Snap-on 1/4-inch drive extensions, probably some of the thinnest there is, and you couldn't get it in there.
Get it in there.
So yeah, it wouldn't slide in there. It's that close. So you got to take the EGR cooler off. In order to take the EGR cooler off, you got to take the turbos off. In order to take the turbos off, you got to take all the other bullshit off. And what a fucking nightmare to get to one bolt. Yeah. Yes, and now we're waiting on shit. We just spent, what the hell was it, $2,200 or something like that? Shit from International the other day. Put this damn thing back together. And of course, the truck spent the first part of its life before Jason bought it in frickin' New Hampshire. So it's a corroded, rusted, it's taken what's already a suck job and, turned it into. Yeah. So a lot of the shit we had to buy and, replace simply just didn't survive because of the corrosion. But it would have survived just fine if you left it alone, but we couldn't leave it alone because we had to access one bolt.
Exhaust manifold bolts or exhaust coupler bolts. Yeah. Do you even look at them and just
we broke them? We twisted off. We twisted off every single one of the damn band clamps, and hell, there's a half a dozen of them sons of bitches. Let's see. BNR says, I have not replaced the Cummins PACCAR ISX ISB oil cooler yet. Hope you never have to.
No kidding. Especially on North Star.
Who put the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter EGR cooler here?
Who put the Mercedes-Benz here?
But yeah, back to what we were talking about a second ago. I just searched on my registrar. BearRoseGarage.com is available to me for a whopping $10.44 a year.
Yeah, I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, and see, what I do is I buy that domain, I redirect the primary to your channel, and create a subdomain called shop.barrowsgarage.com, and then create your page on the website. That's how that works. And I've got it all templated out now. Basically, it takes me about 15 minutes to build those pages. If it was Joe Blow off the street, I might charge him $50. But for you guys, I don't give a shit. I make it back in the sales.
I'd be willing to do that too. $50, that's what? Quarter tank gas?
Shit anymore. I cashed in all my grocery store rewards points today. I bought diesel fuel for $2.60 a gallon. And it still cost me $84 to fill the Ford. And it had 3/8 of a tank in it when I started.
No, seriously, man, I wouldn't. I'd be more willing to pay that because it's you, not some corporation that I have no idea who the hell they are,
right?
Where the hell they are.
Yeah, and if some shit goes sideways, you just call me on the phone and I answer the phone. And I speak plain English. Mars says, I'm going to retire working on diesels, hot rods, and race cars, hopefully, too. I hope I don't have to retire working on diesels. It used to be fun when it was
simple.
Big Cam Commons, Detroits, even the 60 series Detroits in their electronics. I don't mind them. That's what's in my Freightliner. Big Cam Commons, friggin' their B model cats. Even E model cats and oh shit, what's fucking drawing a brain fart here? The red tops, the red top Commons.
You have my number, don't you, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just send me over the information on that.
You should have mine.
It's in my other phone. I updated my phone finally, and I can't figure out how to get all my contacts in there.
You should just, it's a Google phone, right? Android?
Maybe.
Is it an Android phone?
Android.
Yeah, all you got to is if you sign into your Google account, all your if they were saved properly in the first place, it should all come.
Probably not.
Well, I'll tell you what to do now that you got a new phone. Sign into your Google account and then go in the account settings and have it and turn on the little switch to sync your contacts.
Okay.
And what that'll do is that, and then you can even go on the computer and sign into your Google account and look at your contacts, and you can see all the phone numbers and all your people. But if you do that now, as you put your contacts and shit back together on your phone, next time you get a new phone, all you gotta do is sign into your Google account, and the shit comes right
And
back to you.
over.
Yeah, and it comes right because it's stored on Google's cloud, and you got to have a Google account to have an Android phone. Anyway.
Yeah.
You just sometimes you have to turn on that sync.
That's how it got my phone number switched over to it.
Yeah, you just go in the settings in your phone and go to the accounts tab in the settings and pick your Google account. It'll show you a bunch of switches of what you want to sync and make sure you're syncing them contacts. And then
I'm pretty sure I had that switched off because I didn't want Google going through and phone bombing, all my contacts. Have you updated your warranty?
I'll tell you, you want to talk about frickin' warranties. I don't take my shit to the dealerships ever.
Absolutely. Well, the wife's, yes, because it's still under warranty. But
well, for warranty, yeah. Well, and this is where this story's going. We go to my wife's car, the 2015 Chrysler, the one that we drove to No Name, the first No Name when you were there. It had a recall, an emissions recall, and they put a new cat and everything on it. Fuck yeah, you want to put a new cat on it? That's $3,000. Go for it. So I take it into the dealership to have them do that. It wasn't a week after I got that car back, I'm getting junk mail in the damn mailbox for these extended warranties.
Yep.
You rat bastards, you took my information and sold it to these dirty frickin' vulture warranty companies.
It comes from somewhere because Ford warned us about it, said you might be getting these, but don't trust them. Only trust the ones that come directly from us.
Right.
So they must have had a leak or something, or one of those things. I don't know.
There, I just sent you a text.
Oh, cool. I'll log you back in. So I'm sure I got at least you. There it came through.
Yeah, there. Now you got my number again.
Idaho, even the email and electronic mail is slow.
Shit, I'll tell you, it's regular snail mail anymore. I don't even trust it.
There was something going on with my old phone because, well, Landon Custom Classics,
Cousin Mike,
he'd send me a text like the day before, and I'd never get it. And then he'd show up at the shop and he'd get close to me and my phone would go off. Bleep.
And he's your damn neighbor.
And we live like 4 miles apart.
Right.
Oh man.
Well, in Idaho, that's your damn neighbor.
There we go.
Let's see. BNR says you try working on the newest cars. Oh yeah. I won't even say the newest cars. My wife's car still needs a starter that I refuse to do. Because you got to take half the fucking car apart to do it.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to get this lift set up. Maybe I'll do it.
It's the electronics for me. Everything is tied to everything.
Well, and I've got tens of thousands of dollars invested in computer diagnostic equipment for these things. Fuck, I got a laptop computer that I bought specifically for the diesels. This son of a bitch was $3,500.
Yeah. Do you have the monthly service for it too?
No.
Good.
No, it's
that'll break you.
I've got a feeling it's a little bit less than legit software, but I don't give a shit. It does what I need it to do. And you go to like Diesel Laptops or somebody like that, and you got to pay for the services.
Yeah,
And,
it's a subscription every month.
It's $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Cummins Insight, to buy Cummins Insight is what the hell is it? $2,800 a year just for the damn software.
And then you got to buy it for the other one. And then you got to buy it for the other one.
Yeah, and you got to buy it for Cat, and you got to buy it for Petcar, and you got to buy it for Detroit, and you got to buy it for John Deere, and you got to.
Don't even get started on John Deere.
Oh man, my buddy Jason.
John Deere has always been proprietary.
Well, he's about had his belly full of them. Fuck, he's got all of his equipment is John Deere. He's got skid steers and Gannon tractors and excavators, and it's all Deere.
I would never touch a Deere.
What's that?
I would never touch a Deere.
Well, he's getting to the point to where, the shit's going down, and he takes it, he takes it back to Deere to get it fixed, and it comes out 3 times as bad, and they just keep charging and they keep charging and they do the shit wrong. Like one of his excavators shit the pump. And you know what happens when you shit a hydraulic pump, you fill the system full of crap. So you put a new pump on it, you need to flush that system out, right? Well, it's pretty evident that they didn't. It was like 18 grand to put this pump in this fucking machine. He gets it back. It was like a week later, the damn thing's bleeding off. He calls him up. He says, this shit ain't right. He takes it back into him. Oh, well, now you need the valves. And it was like another 12 grand.
Yep.
No, I didn't need the valves until you fucked up the job and let the valves get ruined. You should have ate that. But, of course they didn't.
Last one I did was a 2504 skidder, log skidder.
I used to run I actually, when I lived in Wisconsin, I ran a 2504
skidder. Oh, cool.
Yes. That's what I did in Wisconsin. Well, I worked for Deere. I actually worked for a John Deere dealer in Wisconsin, and then I quit working for them, and I got into logging with a couple of guys, a couple of brothers that, they were doing land clearing, like 60-40 deals with the landowners, and we'd sell the wood. The Amish actually bought. We sold a lot of cherry and red oak to them guys, but that's what I did. I ran the skidder.
There's a logging company here in town that he does a lot of logging in Montana. Well, we're right on the corner there, so Wyoming, Montana, anywhere you can go to get wood.
CP4.
But anyway, valve cover bolts for a John Deere, they have their own damn pitch. So you got to buy their bolts.
Yep, and they're like $10 a piece for a little.
I was just gonna say it. Yep,
it's like an inch long, quarter 20 bolt,
quarter 20. Yeah,
but it ain't quarter 20. When you drill them all out and put helicoils in the fucking thing.
And the reason I had to do that is because the guy before me opened up the instructions on it. It's at 144. So he was going to torque them little quarter 20s to 144 foot-pounds.
Oh, geez.
They're inch pounds.
Right.
Snapped every one of them.
I don't think a quarter 20 ARP bolt would take, but even like an ARP 2K probably wouldn't even take more than, you might be able to get 18 or 20 inch pound or foot pounds on it before you broke it off. But regular
do
grade,
a lot of body and
grade 8, 5 foot-pounds is break this some bitch off.
How many foot-pounds is it? That much.
Right.
That's it.
Right. It's a small bolt.
Oh Lord. But yeah, they're like you said, they ain't nothing on a deer is cheap. And it's all dealer.
Oh, good. Shane's is available too. Buy me a couple of domains here in a minute. I'll go ahead and I'll buy that domain here tonight after I shut down the live. So we'll get it.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Send me I will. Do I have your email? I should have your email. Well, I'll just text it to you. It's probably better than email anyway, huh?
Sure.
A link. I'll text. I'll open you up a portal on the server like I did for Shane and everybody else. And that way you can send me some pictures.
Sure.
And whatever you want to put on merch or whatever. But go to the website and look at the guys that are already on there, their pages, like Jay's page and stuff. I've made them a nice landing page with a picture like Jay's has got his dart on it and stuff. Maybe Sir Rat or whatever you want, but something for a landing page.
Probably my 40 Pontiac. That's what I got out on my regular.
Whatever.
But yeah.
I have found AI to actually be good for a little something. I'm still not a big fan of it, but let's see. Let's crack open. I'll take Andy's page, for instance. Let me share this. Share screen.
I still get confused when I try to do the share screen stuff.
See how I got, that's Andy's landing page there, and it's got a little story about Unity Motorsports and stuff on there. But see how it's got that picture of Casper?
Yeah,
just something to say, hey, hey, look who showed up. Eric's in the house.
We got the score in here.
But see, and then you scroll down, and there's all of his, all of his merch that's up for sale down at the bottom of that page. But up here at the top, I don't know. Can you see the mouse pointer? You can't really see the damn mouse pointer, can you?
I can see it as you drag over.
Yeah, but see right here where see here, John Cope's got he doesn't have a domain on here because he already owns Cope Racing Trans domain. That obviously goes to his website, so he just got his page, and I do the Casper-matic stuff for him. I actually do all of his merch, but he sells his other stuff off his page. He wanted me to do the Casper stuff on mine. But see, you click on the YouTube channel merch, and here's everybody's channels. In fact, RC Industry, Rick, he just come on board here a little bit ago, and there's his. He actually stopped by here a couple weeks ago.
No kidding.
No kidding. He's a good dude. Yeah, him and his wife.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, him and his wife were out cruising the country, and they were coming through the area.
There he is right there.
Yep. Yeah, and they were coming through the area, and he calls me up. Hey, I'm in town. I said, come on by. We were going to go have lunch, but he didn't calculate the time right, and he thought he'd be, in town closer to noon, and he actually ended up being in town around 8:30 that morning. The restaurant wasn't open yet. We got a really good barbecue joint in Prescott. I was going to take him to lunch. So he came out here to the shop and house, and we hung out for a little bit, him and his wife. And it was fun. I think we took some pictures in the shop and stuff, me and him, and I think he put them up on his community page there when he was here. But yeah, that's
I actually
that's what you get for $10
designed his logo there.
I know. Super cool. Yeah, I actually wish I could have had a better resolution of that so I could recreate it for him. But I just didn't have a good enough. In order for it to come out good, it's got to be. I need to have 300 DPI minimum.
When I first was doing my sticker giveaway, I'd do little characters like that for everybody with the stickers.
You hand drew that for him, if I remember right, didn't you?
And I had so many of them. I was like, oh, Lord, that one right there took me about, less than a minute to do. I mean, it was quick.
That's cool. And I just noticed you got an Angry Vagrant shirt behind you.
Yep, right there.
I didn't know you had one of Dizzy's shirts. He wants me to do shirts for him, too. I'll have to draw him up. I took a picture. All I really got was he was wearing one of them, and I took a pig come over to the pit, and we chatted for a little bit, and I took a picture of his back. So I got to clean that up and get where I can print shirts for him, too. But yeah, it's simple. It gets out there and it cross promotes.
Yeah,
because that's the cool thing. Because you can go to shoprcindustry.com will take you directly to this page I was just showing you. But when you land on this page, it's still Gunslinger Graphics, and you still see the home page. You still have the catalog tab, and you still have the YouTube channel merch. You click on it. Oh, I got all these other guys that I can get shit from.
They're all members of the community, and
it's getting, it's starting to get well enough known that it's kind of the place to go to find the cool car shit. YouTube automotive community stuff.
And I hope it gets a little bit for you too, man. Carburetors,
Right?
We got to stick more than one carburetor on everything.
Right. Well, we got the Rat that's dual quad. If I could get it under the hood, I might dual quad the truck, but I don't want
to cut the hood.
I don't want to cut the hood for more than one reason. One, it's a bird bath hood. They're not getting any easier to find.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily be adverse to cutting a flat hood, but I like my bird bath hood. They're not getting any easier to come by. And two, you just you're always running from the wet weather.
Exactly. There are major drawbacks, especially an open engine.
Yeah. The truck was and always has been and always will be meant to be a driver.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get it to a certain ET and I'll stop. If I want to go faster, I'll build a different car. That's all there is to it. Because the one thing I refuse to do with that truck is put roll bars out the back window. And when it gets to that ET where I have to do that, well, that's the ET it's going to run. That's where we're going to stop trying to go faster. And you know what? Mid-sevens, that's fast enough for that.
I agree with you. I will never, ever cut a 58 Ford hood because they have a built-in hood scoop.
Right.
you cut it, it just looks stupid.
I'll tell you, I seen the coolest damn thing yesterday, though. I've never seen it before. And I seen it too quick to tell exactly what year it was, but it was a dent side Ford, late 60s, early 70s, maybe even mid 70s. No, it was late 60s, early 70s. It was still round headlights and still tin grilled, dent side Ford. But what it looked like, what was like a Mach 1 hood scoop on it. The little short ones.
Uh-huh.
I never really thought about doing something like that to one of them Ford trucks, but boy, did it look cool. Kind of made me want to get one just so I could do that. And it was right down the street from my house. The truck was primer gray. I've never seen it before. And me and Jason were just, what the hell? Oh, I was in my Astro van with a little trailer on the back. I was moving a quad for him. Me and him were going down the road to another buddy of ours' house with the quad on the trailer. And I just right down here, right down the street from the house, and out of the around the corner comes this, and it was straight as an arrow. I mean, it was obvious he's been doing body work,
on it.
And it was all in primer, straight, clean. I didn't really hear it, so it didn't have much more than a stock engine in it, which is fine. Boy, that hood scoop just, what is that? I'm thinking about it. We were thinking about it and I think that's a freaking like a Mach 1 Mustang hood scoop. Man, it'll just look good on that Ford truck hood. I thought, what an idea.
Yeah, some of them are wide open.
Yeah.
That Merc, oh yeah, I'll cut that hood. That Dart, yeah, I wouldn't be objected to cutting that. It's just flat. There's nothing to it.
Haven't heard much on the Dart lately. What you doing with it? You making any progress?
I haven't touched it.
Were you going to leave the slant 6 in, or were you going to? No, that was the one you were going to put the Y block in.
I was going to, but the car's in too good a shape. I can't cut the floor.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Jeepster. It's not the one if you want to do a hot rod out of it.
And I see why everybody, all the Mopar guys said, "Oh, an early A body, you have fun."
Right.
Yeah. That thing is weird.
There is a lot of weirdness in them. They're cool. There's a lot of that weirdness is what makes them cool, but man, they can be tough to.
That trans tunnel goes this way,
and
then turns and goes this way.
Well, that's why
every support in it is a 1/4 inch offset.
Yep.
To make up for the engine being cockeyed in there.
Yep. Yeah, the engine was cockeyed, so the damn output shaft ended up, and that's why the rear ends are offset in them.
And they have that ball and trunnion.
Yep. Well,
no, on that it's centered. The rear end is centered.
Oh, is that
6? They went to the offset and straightened everything out. Right. At least the tunnel. They straightened the tunnel out.
Well, and they had to have that ball and trunnion. It's the only way to keep vibration at bay with those goofy angles in the drive line.
When I put it up on the lift and took a look at that, whoa. Pump the brake here a little bit.
Right. Well,
I know what that means.
It angles in a drive shaft or everything, especially when you start ending up with, something like I've got with a 68-inch long drive shaft in my truck. That's why it's a $1,400 5-inch aluminum drive shaft, is to keep. Hey, JB showed up.
Hey, JB.
To keep critical speed at bay. And when I did the spring under and lowered it to keep my angles right, I've actually raised I've got a 1-inch billet aluminum spacer and longer studs on the rear transmission mount, raised up the engine angle in the frame. Well, it changed the engine angle, but it wasn't about the engine angle. It was about getting the height from the output shaft to the rear end right. So I didn't have a drive shaft with a droop in it like that, because then you get operating angles that are just screwy. You
And
know,
then you throw torque to it, and yeah,
that's when you start breaking shit.
Yep.
So now that Cope's finally coming out with that SFI case, that's a big beefy son of a gun, but that's my ticket to get an overdrive in there. That SFI case will be coming out in a 48, which can be, built like a 46, give me the overdrive. But now I'm going to have to do friggin' tunnel work, because the factory transmission is, by changing that angle, bringing that ass end up, it's real close to the floor. It's like even my drive shaft loop, the top part of the loop is inside the cab on top of the floorboard. When I built that loop, it's just 250 thick, 2-inch strap, but I flat with a 90-degree bend, the loop, and then flat, right? So it goes like this, and then I got a flat bar on top of the floor inside under the seat, where it bolts together and sandwiches in the floor. Because I can get 2 fingers barely between that 5-inch drive shaft and the tunnel.
On the monster truck, we had to build a cage for a drive line.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't just a drive line loop. We had to fully encage it.
Right.
That was complicated as hell, because it's got to flex in as well as, and I had to do 2 of them, 3 of them, because it was a divorced.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Running a 2.5 ton deuce and a half transfer case.
I was just going to say, what kind of case were you running? Migraines are no fun, JB. What the hell are you doing that for? Let's see. Dean's giving him a migraine. That's what it is. Michael Faraday, Lewis Harold Gray, Joseph Henry, Henrik Rudolph Hertz, James Prescott Jewell, Lord Kelvin. Oh, he's talking electrical. Faraday cage could be your best friend one of these days. Yeah, he's throwing out all the Nikola Tesla. There you go. Tesla was direct current. Edison was alternating current.
Or the other way. Tesla was alternating. Edison was direct.
I thought that's why Edison became so famous, was he was the one with the I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
But the rest of the world followed Edison.
Right.
But you couldn't transmit it as far. So you had to have more power stations.
Right.
Alternating is freaking weird.
It is.
It's actually no ground.
No.
The ground is back at the power station.
Yeah, well, the ground is back at the transformer. The circuit completes the
transformer, yeah.
And it will get there one way or the other. And that's when you run into problems. If the circuit isn't right or it's leaking somewhere, it will travel through the ground, back up the pole to get back to the transformer.
Make your meter just a spin. And you wonder why in the hell I got a $600 power bill.
Right. Right. And the weird thing is,
it'll cost you a 1963 Dodge 440 with a 318 poly in it.
Yeah,
I know.
a little bit of moisture somewhere is all it takes to cause shit like that too. You lost a car over a power bill once? Is that what you're getting at?
When I updated all the electrical here, the guy that had this place before, yeah, he did all of his own wiring.
Oh,
with about a 12-pack of beer.
Well, that sucks.
My main power that goes to the meter, it's only about 10 feet. It's not very far to the pole.
Right.
He dug that trench this way. He must have used 40 feet of cable. I mean, seriously, wide angles. I don't know what the hell he was doing. And there was beer cans in the trench when I had to dig it up.
God.
Okay.
You might remember the short that I put out. I think it's been a couple years ago now when I was trenching out here to run my data lines out to the shop, the hard lines, and I accidentally hit the power line out here underground with the trencher. And I go to repair it, and I come to find out it was in PVC water pipe, and somebody had just twisted it together and taped it up somewhere inside them. Oh my God.
One of those things that you hate it when it happens, but after you look at it, you think, thank God I found it.
You're kind of glad you did. Yeah. Well, and that's something else I am well versed in is electrician work. I actually did it long enough to make journeyman status, industrial electrician back in the early 2000s, late 90s. So I do know my way around that shit real well. So yeah, like you said, it sucked that it happened that way, but I was kind of glad I found it.
So they bounced my bid, $3,500. I had to come up with that, so I sold the car for it.
Oh, damn. That's never any fun. So what the hell's JB into tonight? Boy, I know he's been putting up a bunch of funny shorts picking on Lars working on that Ford.
I like your stress relief ones. When you just go out there and fire that S10 up.
Right.
The world is normal again.
Right. Yeah, he's been giving Lars a pretty fair amount of shit about that Ford. That's actually kind of cool, though, putting that. Oh, he's just getting back from a track. That's cool. What track? Were you out? Were you racing, or were you out hanging out with Alex? Was he racing?
Yeah, he's putting a 351 Windsor in there.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I can't say. Yeah, it is really. I cannot say I've ever seen a truck that body style, mod motor swapped out for a Windsor motor. That'll be cool. And you can't go wrong with a Windsor. They're just good engines. Just hanging out with Mohawk and Alex. Right on.
Oh, sweet. Hello, Mohawk and Alex.
Good bunch to be hanging out with. Definitely a good bunch to be hanging out with. So how is the 58 coming along?
Slowly. I'm back on the Mercury again.
Are you?
I swap back and forth. When I'm waiting for parts on this one, I just swap over to the next one. And swap over to the next one.
Nice. So are you still thinking about using Sir Rat for a tow rig?
Thinking about it. But
how cool would that be?
The weather is the one variable in that because, again, open engine.
Yeah.
We get stuck in a 3-day downpour. I'm stuck in a 3-day downpour.
Well, and that's I was just gonna say that too, because all 3 years I have hit a substantial amount of rain at some point along
on the road. And it come across them plain states, Sometimes those rainstorms don't just, let up.
Yeah. Well, this year coming home, I guess we could have kept going, but we said, and we were in Oklahoma. Was it? Yeah, Shawnee, Oklahoma, on our way home from No Name. We hit some hell of a rainstorm, and we could have kept going, but we said, you know what? This is a good place to stop and hole up for the night, get something to eat, drink some beer, and start again in the morning.
If nothing else, though, we'll just take the motor home and stick Surratt on the back.
Yeah, you can when it ain't running, you can put a bag over the scoop.
Yeah.
That's what we did with this rat. Was put a bag over it and let it rain. We've always, ever since I built the motor in this rat, though, we've always been scared of rain with it because that's a lot of what killed the first motor.
Yeah.
These Sand Mountain Hunters in the house. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man. Say hello to Dakota.
Hell yeah. He comes in here, I'll have to time him out. Just because I can. Nah. Dakota's a good dude, man.
That he is.
Good sense of humor, too.
Oh, Lord, it's 11 o'clock. Oh, I better be dragging my tired butt to bed.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's
4
10
o'clock comes
here.
way early.
But yeah, that rat was left outside for about 1.5 years in the rain, and the engine took on a lot of water. If you remember all the rust on the shafts, the counterweights and shit when I built that motor. So, and I've done things, since, when I put the motor together to have it sealed better so that kind of shit isn't as likely to happen. But ever since that, we've just been leery. Matter of fact, because the water truck's in the shop, he went and bought a friggin' tarp. We got a rainstorm last week. He went and bought a friggin' tarp and came out here and tarped the whole damn car. We ain't doing that shit again. JB says it's 12. You guys are lost.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Oh, wow. We're back up to 17 in here again. Nice. That's not bad for late at night.
Solid roller cam? Sweet.
Change some now. I got a huge solid roller cam for it. It's going to be a beast. Dean says it's really simple. LP94 can keep all the 4.2 gearbox and starter.
I just got my cam kit in and one of my carburetors.
Is that what you were showing earlier? That's what you were showing when Shane was in here. Yeah. What carburetors are you going with?
Performers on this one. I need the separate fast idle. AVS, the fast idle's tied right to the choke.
Right. Who was it the other night that was asking about progressive linkage? Was that you?
That's me.
That was you. Yeah, progressive linkage on the FE. Don't do it.
I didn't think so. That was just, I read that in the instruction manual as, whoa, I see Shane's point on it, but it just doesn't make sense.
Not on an FE.
No.
The way they distribute, the way the manifolds are distributed. Like I said, the system that was on the rat was a progressive, and it ran all right, but it was never really happy. And you could tell why. The front cylinder.
Yeah. They're not getting anything. They're scavenging for it.
Right.
And the back two are getting dumped.
And like Shane was saying, Cam does play a lot into it. But you start getting a big grumpy cam in it, like what's the rat, it just isn't happy. And shit, all I did was, I think it's that setup was on it when I first built the car. the best I can tell, I think it's a low car setup. You know, the progressive shit. All I did was went to McMaster Car and bought another Heim joint that fit. I think it was 1032 left hand, if I remember right. You know, and hell, Jags for $6, you can buy the spacer that that goes into the carburetor. I spent a whopping $15 to convert that progressive over to a 1-to-1, and it just made all the difference in the world. The car is so much happier.
That's what I was just gonna build my own linkage. They're easy to build.
Yeah,
it's just a straight piece. Your two pieces that tie the carbs together, and then a hang down for your throttle. That's it.
Yeah,
super simple.
Well, the way the rat's done, I've just got the two carburetors tied together, and then the throttle lever. It's not a cable; it's just a solid throttle lever. Out of the cab straight to the rear carburetor. Whatever the rear carburetor does, front carburetor.
The front one does. That's how I'm running Sir Rat, but on Sir Rat I'm using AVS2s. So one carburetor, my forward carburetor, has got the choke. Right. So when it first I can pull the choke, and that just when it's cold outside and at the high altitude here, it'll boom, fire on the first hit, and you slam that shut. But the top one is the throttle lock is tied to the fast idle on the second carburetor.
Gotcha.
And I took the choke plate out of it.
Okay.
So when that fast idle cam is locked in, it's holding both of them equal through the throttle linkage.
Right.
Then I can let it warm up for 3 or 4 minutes without having to be in the cab feathering the gas.
Right. Yeah, the Rat. This one, I've got it dialed in pretty close. It's pretty happy. It has a choke on the rear car, but I just got it wired open, and it's a roller cam, so I'm not worried about fast idle when it's cold. If it was a flat tappet cam, I would definitely use the choke for that reason. But it's happy enough. I fire it up. It only takes 30 seconds, and it's willing to idle on its own.
Yeah.
It don't rough,
take
but
so long.
Yeah, it's
the
just
tunnel ram a little bit longer when it's good and cold, but
with I have nothing against a choke. If you've got the means to use it, by all means use it.
Heck, I've limped a car home with the choke because of a fuel pump. The fuel pump starts to die.
Getting the choke,
pull that choke, and get her
get engine vacuum to pull fuel, and they'll do it
all the way home. You can only get about 35, maybe 40 mile an hour, feathering the gas and working the choke.
Right.
I've limped them home.
Yeah, the things us hot rodders do to make things work, right? It's like we were talking about earlier, me and Shane, and back in the day, and he uses one today, a freaking battery charger made out of an alternator and an old lawnmower engine. Do what works.
You go back out to the back 40. You don't want to drag a ton of extension cords or.
You're right.
Fire a generator. Just take that out.
That was what was cool about the one I built out of that old lawnmower frame. It still had the frickin' wheels on it from the lawnmower, so you just wheel it around. I was like 13 years old when I built that stupid thing.
Yeah, we got Junk Car Willie in here.
Hey,
what's going on, brother?
Good to see you, man. Wow, I actually catch you live. Yeah, we're still here for a few minutes. Good to see you, man. Boy, he sure pumps out the good stuff, doesn't he?
That he does.
I enjoy the shit out of everything he puts out. Yeah, he just knows how to find them. Junkyard
Just to
D.
show that there's more out there than what people say.
Right?
Well, most people will look at if it ain't perfect paint, it don't exist. So I can see why some people say that there is no good cars out there or old cars out there. They overlook them all.
There is. They're just hiding some of them. Yep. What's Bino squared? Bueno squared.
Too good.
Junk Car Willie says, "Hey everyone, it's just I'm off work. Most don't have that luxury. Plus single. LOL." Right? And my son came over to hang out tonight, and my wife's playing video games with him in the other room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we've got this. Well, it's old. It's a PS3, so that tells you it's pretty old. But we got this golfing game on there. It's pretty fun to play. A couple weeks ago, they were all over here, and we were playing that shit. We got an 18-hole game. I think it lasted like 4 hours. There was 4 of us playing, so I was like, "Shit, this thing's never gonna end." But it was fun.
I remember years and years ago, I think it was the first Sony PlayStation. A friend of mine got it, and he got the NASCAR game. But you could play the whole race. 4-hour long race. Yeah, you race the whole 4 hours, pit stops, everything. He'd invite all of us over there, and we'd do a whole run.
Oh wow,
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Was years ago.
That your hands were sore by the time you were done.
We'd switch off every pit, okay, take over, or somebody else would run the pits because you have your little guys and you'd have to control them to go out and change tires, fill
right.
car up, make car adjustments,
cool.
Everything. It was freaking awesome. The graphics weren't, well, back then they were freaking amazing.
16-bit or something.
Compare it to nowadays, that's like Atari.
Right. Yeah, well, I remember Atari and their 8-bit graphics. Shit, I had one of them when I was a kid. Didn't play it much, but I had one. I was always out screwing around with cars or go-karts or old riding lawnmowers, making race cars out of them.
Heck yeah, if you stayed in the house too long, Dad and Mom find you something to do, and it was something you didn't want to do, so you disappeared.
Right? I don't know. I always enjoyed working on stuff though, and doing things out in the garage, and playing with engines or this or that, or just sitting on my ass and playing video games was never really my cup of tea. Now it's fun once in a while, but I still couldn't do it day in and day out.
We used to ride our bicycles to the landfill. That was our shopping center.
Right.
Drag home all kinds of, find some old water pipe out there. Oh, you drag it home, cut it off with a hacksaw, pound it up into the forks on your bicycle and make a chopper.
Yep. Right. Yeah, it was always
all kinds of stuff like that. Find lawnmowers, get them running, sell them for $5-10.
I was just gonna say that's how I bought my Charger when I was 12 years old, and I still own that car today. Picking lawnmowers out of dumpsters. I'd take them, I'd drag them home, I'd rebuild the engines. I would buy rebuild kits for the old vertical shaft 3.5 horse Briggs and Stratton engines. I could get rebuild kits for them for $6.50. And that was a new piston, new rings, all the gaskets, the whole shooting match, carburetor kit to build the engine. I'd build the engine. I'd either sharpen the blade or put a new blade on it and get a 99-cent can of Krylon and paint the damn thing. They're all black and red. The engine's black and the deck's red. And I'd put the damn things out on the street for $75 and sell them.
Yeah.
That's how I made money when I was a kid. I wanted things.
Bicycles, people throw away the most amazing stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, I sold a lot of bicycles, too, that come out of the trash. But I wanted things, and that was how I was going to get them, Mom and Dad didn't have the money to buy that shit.
Exactly.
But they didn't care if I come up with the money, as long as I wasn't doing illegal shit.
Did that, and I was a paper boy.
Yep, I had a paper route, too, for a couple of years.
We weren't allowed to throw the papers, though. We had boxes we had to put them in.
I was able to throw them. I had a Schwinn mountain bike, one that came out of a dumpster that I fixed up. And I had the big bags that went on the handlebars full of newspapers. You'd ride by and chuck the newspapers. But you had to get them to the right houses, the people that actually bought them.
Then you had to go around and collect.
Because you had to pay for those papers.
Yep. And if they didn't pay, you did. Yeah. Yep. It taught you a lot.
It did, really. They don't have shit like that for kids these days.
You get right up started on your route, and you get to pedaling fast because you woke up a little late. And your feet start hitting them bags on your
right. And you had 75 or 80 newspapers in those bags, and the front end of that bike is awful damn heavy.
And the weight gets to swinging opposite. Oh yeah. Sunday mornings, yeah.
Those were the good old days. Yeah, the Sunday ones were bad because they were heavy.
They were big. Back in them days, they were,
They had all the ads and everything in them.
And that's the paper everybody had to have.
Yep. Yeah, I can, thinking back,
you missed it by 30 seconds. They were calling in a complaint.
Where's my newspaper? You son of a bitch. Right? But yeah, I delivered papers every day, but I think I had like 3 times as many Sundays as I always did, during the week, the dailies.
And oh Lord, Thanksgiving. Oh man, I'd have to split that one. The papers were so thick because that's when they'd have all the Black Friday sales. And
right.
Oh, that was a horror day.
Junkyard D says, where you at now, Willie? Somewhere finding cool stuff. Boy, he's done really well with Facebook.
Yeah, he did. That's a tough market, too, and he busted right into it.
Yeah. I don't understand Facebook.
Not a bit.
To me, it's just a rotting cesspool full of bullshit. Hell, if
Too
you
much
make
hate.
money. What's that?
Too much hate.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. Too much hate and too many keyboard warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on Facebook's 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
And 30 days banned for that title on that video. Just that solidified it, and I have not opened it since.
You got 30 days banned?
Yes.
I didn't know about that.
For tranny swap.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah.
It's what I was actually doing. It was our word first.
Right. Well, and that's what happened to one of my wife's friends in her group. She said shoot instead of shit.
Yeah.
And got put in Facebook jail for 30 days. For hate.
It's just somebody wanting to raise a stink on somebody. Somebody wanting to end somebody's good time. That's
it's like next time. Yeah, it's like next time, just say shit. Say fucking shit. You know, shit. You know, trying to be polite and get screwed for it.
Gonna punish me for something. By golly, I'm gonna do something worth it.
Right. Well, they took it completely out of context. You know, like she was gonna harm somebody. You know, God forbid.
But if they read the conversation, they'd see that it had nothing to do about it.
Well, look at the bullshit that Chris Busted Radio Garage just gone through. You know, with his channel getting demonetized. You know, anybody with, and I even posted that. I made a comment on his Facebook post about that. Any human being with half a frickin' brain would see that when a channel that's that old with that many videos and that many views all of a sudden gets every single video flag, there's some hinky bullshit going on.
Yeah.
It's not the channel, it's some troll. And I'm still not convinced it was even a troll. I think it was a troll that turned loose a bot.
Probably.
I even pointed that out too. You know, even the biggest asshole of a troll, who is going to sit there and go through? I don't know if you've ever reported a video, you know, or reported anything on YouTube. I have. You know, the first time I ever reported one was that video when that asshole Mr. Will.
Oh, Lord,
said he was gonna smash my face in the curb. You know, fuck you. You know, first thing I'm gonna do is report your ass. Second thing I'm gonna do is invite you to come and try. But you know, I have.
Pay for the ticket.
What's that?
Even pay for the ticket.
Right. But it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass. It takes about 5 minutes. You got to answer all these questions, everything. It's a real pain in the ass. So even the biggest asshole of a troll, who is going to sit there and spend 5, 6, 7 minutes a piece on a video, even if you get good at it and can do it in 4 minutes, and sit there and go through 300 and some odd videos and do that?
I think, like you said,
I think it was a damn bot.
Something bigger.
It was a malicious bot.
And I think it really is from his giveaways. I think that's what originally got the target set, and then all it needed was the trigger pulled.
I don't even know if it was a giveaways. I'm still convinced it stems from Mr. Will and DRC Dave.
Very well could. They could have been the ones that pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah, and you know, them idiots.
I don't know.
Because they were throwing a lot of shade his way for a while.
And then he bought that car from Rich.
Right.
So he had definite
connection there. Actually, I think
there.
he ended up not getting that car from Rich.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think he ended up backing out of that. I could be wrong, but I thought, in fact, I think we were talking about it. Maybe it was a No Name, or it might have been on the phone with him. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he told me he ended up not buying that car from Rich.
And if he did, if he didn't, you know,
who cares?
Who the hell cares?
At least he'll do something with it.
I bought cars from some pretty weird people too, and it don't mean a damn thing.
Yeah, I don't care about the asshole. I care about the car.
The car.
Yeah, that Rich, he's a piece of work, that's for sure. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you.
Oh, clear to the elbow.
Hell, why stop at the elbow? That some bitch is going all the way to the shoulder.
Good Lord. I feel bad because I tried so hard to help him.
A lot of people did. And it's ended the same way for every one of them.
Yeah.
You know,
But when he went after Unfinished, that's what did it to me. That
you're right.
I'd heard little stuff, but I want to see it for myself. And when he did that, he's one of the few people I have banned on my channel.
Yeah.
One of the few.
Yep. Daniel from Powell Machine said it best. Some people are stupid on purpose.
And what he doesn't realize is if you're banned on somebody's channel, they can still watch, they can still comment, but nobody ever sees their comments. You can still watch the lives and you can comment all you want. Nobody ever
sees it.
It doesn't mean that, oh, you'll never see another one. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right. Ban me from your channel all I want. I'll download the video and mock it on my own channel. But you know what? Guys like that ain't worth the effort it takes to do shit like that.
No.
The turd just circles the bowl and eventually it goes down.
Sometimes you got to flush a few times, but.
And sometimes it clogs.
I hope he does straighten up and he finds happiness and he goes off and becomes a great person and he's happy.
Right. Just leave us out of it.
Yeah.
I do, one thing's for sure, whoever did that to Chris, I do believe is a no-name hater. And there's only a few of them, and they're all those New Jersey idiots.
But that guy using my name to go after another channel, and I had nothing to do with.
This chicken shit.
Yeah.
That's just chicken shit.
Invited me on his live under false pretense.
Yep.
Come on and talk about a Torino. No problem. Hey, I'll even promote you. I'll promote the video. I did all kinds of work.
Yeah.
Showed up in there and it was to attack and destroy Uncle Tony. I don't care who you're going after. Don't use and then use my name later.
Right.
Oh, see, Barrel's Garage agree. And I hit that immediately. You take my fucking name off of it. Oh, sorry.
You're fine. F-bombs are allowed on my channel.
That's the only guy that got me pissed.
Right.
Don't use my name for nothing.
Right.
Especially
they can't.
Malicious like that. And I said nothing. I was on there to talk about a freaking tornado that he had somebody else do. Yeah. And he put a TBI on a 251 Cleveland.
Why the fuck would you do that?
Do that to a Windsor, not a Cleveland.
I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, don't do that to anything.
Yeah.
Take TBIs off Chevys and put carburetors in their place.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was one of the worst setups there ever was. Hell, that thing sitting behind me is a better TBI than a factory Chevy one ever was. That's a brand new, never used OG Holly projection.
Really?
Yeah. Never seen fuel.
I've seen a couple of those, but never run one.
Jason had it. I don't know where the hell he got it. And it's got the 4-barrel adapter on it and everything. I don't know where the hell he got it, and he gave it to me. And I got the computer for it. And I didn't have the wire harness for it. He didn't have the wire harness for it. And believe it or not, you could still get the wire harness from Holly.
Really?
And they wanted shit. They want shit. There's 8 wires in that harness. I was just gonna find a schematic and build one because Holly wanted. It was like $350
For a harness.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are on crack. I ain't paying that, and I'll probably never use it. It might be fun to play with, for some 200 horsepower or something, but. Not last year, but the year before when they had their spring sale.
Oh yeah,
I got that harness from them for $28.
Really?
So I seen it marked down to $28. I bought it. And they had the which was an add-on upgrade option for that to add an O2 sensor. For another $10, I got that part of the harness. So, maybe someday I'll put it on something just because, that when I was growing up, that was the cool shit to have.
If I had to go power adder, boost, turbo, I would consider them. I would heavily consider them. Maybe not that particular one, but
yeah, you never get the fuel
sniper or
you never get the fuel through those injectors
because a blow through carburetor. Good night.
Yeah, blow through carburetor. Oh, you can build them and set them up, but they're a pain in the ass.
Pain in the butt.
If you buy them, they're ungodly expensive to buy one already built that way.
I have one. It's a quadrijet.
That's been set up for blow through?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's on the first year of the Grand National.
Oh, right on, yeah.
With the blow through turbo.
Yep. So you've got a factory blow through quadrijet. Yeah. It's not modified. It's a GM.
I got the whole thing, the engine, transmission, everything.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. What are you going to put that in?
I'm thinking of putting it in a canoe.
A canoe?
Yeah. And take the canoe, turn it upside down, cut a cockpit into it, and make like an old salt flat racer.
That would be cool.
But use the canoe as the body.
That would be cool. Somebody should be fast.
And then use that Grand National engine tranny for it.
Gear it 1-to-1.
Go down to Bonneville and see if I can get a red jacket.
Shit, you just might. Them Grand National motors, they make some power.
Yeah, for a V6, yeah.
By today's standards, not so much, but well into the 90s and even early 2000s, they were kind of a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, this is 80, 83, 84.
87,
like I said, first year.
87, 88.
Yeah, that's when they were a wet turbo then.
You could get the T-types, but the actual Grand National was only 87 and 88. You could get the T-types, I think, in 85, and I think they ran them through like 89 or 90. Even they were a pretty small window, but the National, the actual Grand National was just 87 and 88. Late 87. Well, shit, Derek got that on Vice Grip Garage, got that T-type. I forget what year that one he got was. I think it's an 88.
Regal T?
Yeah, with the turbo V6 in it.
It was the same thing, just didn't have the body.
Well, it was the same. They actually were the same body, but
just
they were,
didn't have the graphics.
yeah, and they weren't black.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grand National was like a Model A Ford. You can get it in any color you wanted as long as
As
it
long
was
as it was
black.
black.
If it ain't black, it ain't a Grand National. And if it's a Grand National, it ain't black. Somebody painted it the wrong color.
The car it came out of, it was trashed.
Was it?
But it was carbureted, not injected.
I'm doing an LS3 6L80 swap and an 03 Crown Vic Police Interceptor. That ought to be quick. Just hanging out for the late night. What are you up to tonight? Good to see you, man. Yeah, an LS3 6L80. That's a potent setup.
Good friend of mine, he just landed into it's a flathead Lincoln 312.
No way.
It's the 8B. You know, with it doesn't have the block is and the bell housing are separate.
Right.
Not the early ones. He wants to do that with it. He wants, team up with me. But he wants to use one of his old airplane fuselages for it.
Oh, that's cool. That'd be a neat setup, neat build. You guys are going to do it together?
He's talking about it.
That'd be fun. Like you ain't got enough.
Y block. I got lots of Y block parts.
Right?
312 flathead. I ain't got none of them. I don't know anybody that's got any.
I was just gonna say that I don't know anybody that does either. Yeah, that stuff ain't getting any easier to find. That's for damn sure.
It was rare when it was new.
Right. Flatheads were cool though.
I gave Stephen Holtz my 8B block. It was a police interceptor. It was painted black and white.
What's he putting it in?
He took it to Georgia, I think, to Auto Resto Mod, Jeff.
Oh.
And he's going to do something with it.
Great set of guys. Have so much fun with them. Never done projects. I think I'm subscribed to that channel.
Never done projects.
I think I've seen that channel.
Northern North Carolina. Hope they fared pretty good okay during all that.
Oh, that hurricane was a real bitch for a lot of people. My first time meeting anybody from YouTube, what an experience my wife and I had. That is so cool.
Way cool.
Let's see here. I picked up a sub somewhere tonight. That's cool.
They just bought an 8,000 square foot building. No matter how many square feet you think you're going to need, double it.
Right.
Because you'll fill it up in a dang hurry. All you got to do is bring one car in and take it to nothing. And you'll fill up all 8,000 square feet.
Let's see. I was not subscribed to Never Done Projects.
Yeah, I'll check them out when I get off here.
Yeah, here I just found. I'll throw the link up. Got a good looking C10, it looks like. Everyone, welcome back to Never Done Projects. In today's episode, we thought we would show you all how far we've come out with our 93 Chevy Camaro Z28 known as Jezebel the Fireball. Huh, that's cool. The other Jezebel we know and love is a Charger.
Yep. Oh, I hear you.
Supposed to do a collaboration video. We started visiting and everything went by the wayside. LOL, while they were welcoming. Yeah, I was going to do something like that when Rick showed up, and all we did was stood around and bullshitted instead.
When I went down and met my friend Pete of DIY Auto School, same thing. I was just going to pop in, say hi, and boy, we ended up spending half the day there.
Right on. I'd like to meet him in person someday. I enjoy the shit out of watching him.
He's just like he is on YouTube, but one hell of a great guy.
Right. Well, that's kind of better. That's kind of what makes him a good guy, is he don't sugarcoat nothing, you know. That's what I enjoy watching him for. And he's good at what he does.
He's like 7 foot tall.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He looks like a big guy, but I didn't, you know.
When he answered the door, I about crapped my pants up. Whoa. Yeah, him and Minnie both just, excellent people.
Yeah, he puts up with a lot of bullshit.
Of course, I've been watching him for frickin' ever.
Oh, me too.
I remember when he had his show on Discovery, Tough Love Garage. It only lasted 1 season, though.
Right.
Back when he was in Dallas. Well, heck, I got to get off here. Like I said, 4 o'clock comes way early.
Yeah, we've been going 3.5 hours. It's about time.
It's been great seeing you again, man. No, I'll get back with you on all that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and secure that domain anyways. We'll go from there.
Sure.
And I will, like I said, I'll open up a portal for you on the server, and I'll just text you the link on your phone.
Sure.
And you can do whatever. It works just like Google Drive. You click on the link and it's all drag and drop. It was
Can I pay you through that?
What's that?
Can I pay you through that?
No. Cash App, PayPal, send me a check.
Sure, we'll figure something there.
Yeah, no, I'm not too concerned with it. Bring it to No Name next year. But you know, we will have to come up with some sort of funds transfer, whether it's PayPal, Cash App, whatever. Well, because I'll have to be able to pay you when stuff sells.
Yeah.
You know, I run the reports usually quarterly. You know, whatever sells, you get $5 a pop. You know, whether it's hats, shirts, whatever. You know, I build that price into it, so the channel gets to make something.
Then you do make something off that.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I make money.
I want you to succeed at this, brother.
Right. No, the extra $5 is built in on top of what it costs, after my profits. But
Okay.
that's why most of the shirts are like $29 to $33. But that's kind of what YouTube merch goes for. Some of it more
Yeah.
than that, but because I actually I buy everything wholesale and I make everything. I usually have $15 in a shirt. Time I, get the graphics done on it and get it printed, and my time. And my time is where I make the money. I don't mark up the shirt. I don't mark up the graphic work. Now, if I actually start doing design work, then then I'll charge for that. I charge $35 an hour for graphic design work, what I do. But most of the guys already have their stuff. None of these guys I've charged anything for graphic work. Usually it's close enough that I'll spend 10 or 15 minutes with it to get it where it's at, and at that point it's not even worth. Takes more time to make a bill than what the bill's going to be. It's just it comes back to you in the profits. I'll make about $8 on a shirt, on every one that I sell ish, and then the channel makes 5. Basic rule of 50, in retail.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You get it, you get something, by the time I about double it, that leaves enough meat on the bone for me and the channel. And it works out. So
Who
but
makes
yeah,
stickers?
we will have to come up with some line of payment, electronic or paper. I don't give a shit. I can write checks too, whatever you like best. But, there will come a point to where it becomes profitable for you too, and
Like I said, if I
not,
get off my butt and start doing
yeah.
videos again.
It's I don't want to just take your stuff and make all the money off of it. That ain't fair. So, but yeah,
I see it as advertisement. So
it kind of
people
is.
see you wearing your shirts, they're interested in it then. And that's, so
Right.
it's more than just, $5 a shirt, but it's $5 a shirt plus everybody that's going to see it. So,
Yeah. But that it's I do it. I stay transparent. I keep it fair for everybody, and
I just wish you'd get some flat caps in.
I can get those. I can get those. I can get them. I can get bucket hats. I can get any of them. It's just what people buy are the
Yeah.
trucker caps. That's what everybody wants, and that's why that's what you see on the website. If you wanted that style of hat, I could absolutely make that style of hat for you. I've got the absolute best heat press in the world. I just bought one. I think it was back in June or July. I can do patches. I can do those leather. You've seen on hats that's been getting popular lately, the leather patches that are stamped. I can put those on hats. I can do just about any damn style of hat. So there's no reason why I couldn't print on one of them hats. And, I've hooked up with the 2 largest textile vendors, wholesale vendors in the country. So if it exists, I can get them. Who makes YouTube stickers? Who makes stickers for YouTube stickers? That is the one thing I don't do is the stickers. I personally, what's that?
Go ahead.
I do the shirts, I do the hats, I do sweatshirts and jackets and hoodies and all that, but I don't have the printer to produce stickers. I personally like the quality of Sticker Mule.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's who I use. There's my proof one that I got from Sticker. Yeah.
Oh, did you get a new one done up? Oh yeah. No, that's the OG.
It's the same one that I had before, but this is from Sticker Mule. But I screwed up on them. They're tiny. I clicked the wrong box.
Did you get the 2-inch? Yeah, they'll make them whatever size you want. Yeah. I personally like the 3-inch ones. They're not too big. They're not too small. But Sticker Mule, grand Sticker Mule. I'll actually show you.
And a secret to them, if it still stands, is you do a small order from them, and then they'll flood you with all kinds of sale options. Hey, come back. There's 15-20% off your next order.
You will get those, but I have actually, and I've bought a lot of stickers from Sticker Mule for myself and others. And I have found the trick is it's a little more money up front, but the trick is to buy 300 of them.
300, yep. That's what I did then. That's what I got, tons of them little buggers.
Yeah, because when you get 300 of them, they come down to about 50 cents a piece. When you buy 50 of them, they're about $1.50 a piece. They're asinine expensive, but it's like this sticker here I think it's the last one I have left out of the stack of them that managed to go through the washing machine in my wife's pocket. These things survived the washing machine and the dryer, and I've got them stuck on shit all over the place that didn't hurt them. I mean, they got a little wrinkled. But that when you stick them on something, the wrinkle goes away, and the back got a little bit, it's more like, but whatever. It didn't kill the sticker, and I was thoroughly impressed with that. It went through the frickin' washing machine and survived.
All of the guys that sent me stickers for the first inaugural run of the No Name Nationals, I stuck them all over on the Mercury. All of the Sticker Mule ones still look almost brand new on the windows.
And all the rest of them have kind of gone to shit.
They're gone.
Yeah. I've had them where they fall off, where they fade, and I've got these that have been out in the sun for 3 years and still going strong. Look like I put them on yesterday.
Wild weather. I get like 10, 20 below in the winter. I get snow, and then I hit 110 in the summer. And they survived all of that.
And it's right back to, they're a little more expensive, but it's right back to where you get what you pay for. It's like the merch that I do. It's not the most expensive out there, and it's damn sure not the cheapest out there, but it's going to outlast most of what's out there.
My first attempt at them, I went through GoPrint. GoPrint. I got my original stickers through them. They're pretty good size. I think I gave you one at the first No Name Nationals. But I warned you, it probably won't even stick to the first thing you try to stick it to, because
I actually think I'm pretty sure it's still stuck on my sticker board out in the shop.
Oh, really?
But it's inside. But it's inside the shop.
But yeah, those were horrible. You get what you pay for.
Well, it's like Rick. He went through 2 or 3 different shirt vendors trying to get shirts, and they just couldn't seem to get it right. And I got the graphics from him, and I completely redrew it and made it nice. It didn't change it, but completely re-vectorized it. And got it good, and he loves them. He absolutely loves them. So if you want shirts and hats and hoodies and shit like that, I'm your guy. If you want stickers, I would recommend Sticker Mule.
I'll get with my daughter. She's got all of the computer file for this one. She's the one that designed my logo.
Yeah, I'd like to have a good high resolution copy of that, because that's a perfect front left chest piece for the shirt. if you're going to do a front and back, car or whatever on the back, or, or saying or something, and, that's a perfect, that I like your logo for a left chest piece, and that'd print up nice on a shirt.
Yeah, and she's got all those files. She's got the layers and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the nice thing too with the server, coming directly to my server versus email or whatever, is there's no size limit to what you can send. So you can actually send the PSDs, the actual Photoshop documents. And if you have those, I prefer those because they're the absolute most manipulatable, if that's a word. I can, if I got to change something to make it printable, it takes 2 seconds, versus taking a PNG. If I got a PNG or God forbid a JPEG with a background, then that's when I got to start spending time on it, and it could potentially get into that could potentially get into an hourly charge. But the PSDs, a lot of companies shy away from them because of the file size. I host all my file host is all my own hardware. I don't care about the file size. The thing gets full, I'll add another hard drive to it. It's got 4 8-terabyte hard drives in it now and room for about 8 more. I mean, so instead of running from the big files, I welcome them because they're easier to work with, and quality over quantity is what I'm after. If it's not something I'm happy with, I'm not going to sell it. I will spend the time and make it. You know me, I'm that damn perfectionist. That's why everybody that's had me do merch for them stays and wants more. And, because I take the time to make it perfect.
Yeah, I'll promote the heck out of you, man.
And it's fun to do. I enjoy doing it.
When I get out there and get off my lazy ass and do a video.
Right. And get some metal hot. All right, brother. We could sit here all night and chit chat, but I think I'm going to go ahead and shut her down.
Real life calls.
Appreciate what's that?
Real life calls, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. I appreciate the hell out of everybody hanging out with us tonight.
Each and every one of you guys.
It was damn sure a pleasure having you on, and everybody else, Shane and Dust Devil Brian that came in for a minute, but he had some technical issues with his internet, but hope he got them sorted out. And we will see y'all next week. Same place, same time. And I will be sending you a text tomorrow with a server link.
Sure. We'll see y'all next week.
Tony's Hot Rod Garage out.
Because he's keeping the metal hot.
Right. Trying.